Here on Good Morning Kenya, I shall be with none other than Dr. Joseph Murimi, the founder of Save a Life. What he is doing in terms of being a transformative leader in the society shall be put into perspective right here on KBC Channel 1. Not only that, but we shall also include a conversation about the boy child. It's been a long time. Everybody has been talking about the boy child being neglected. Today, let's highlight some of the plights of the boy child, including one particular initiative being done by none other than Toris Sam, the founder of Mingaru Mtaani. What are they doing? They are giving away boxes to the boy child. Imagine that. Well, stick around for that coming up in a bit. But still, we have more. My team is also with me here, my co-pilots joining us in this particular morning program.
Of course, it was a good weekend. The rains are slightly back in the city, and so far so good. The issue of tax is still hitting our headlines, and this week Parliament will be having their second reading on the same. So that is what is still on the lips of many Kenyans this week and even the next 1 month or so to come. Welcome to the program. My name is Victor Lo. How was your weekend? We'll be having a very interesting discussion here later on. Dr. Arus, who is a Deputy Governor of Turkana County, and Haro, who is a Mandera North Member of Parliament, will be joining me in studio for Eye on Politics. We have got a lot to talk about. Let's talk about that when we come back later on. But right about now, it's time for Lady in Red.
Yeah.
She's dancing with me.
Oh, wow.
She's very humble.
Thank you, Victor. And good morning to you, Ram.
Yes, good morning, Marie.
Well, it's a Monday, the 12th of June. Good morning to you also joining us back at home. Thank you so much for making the time to start your day with us here on Good Morning Kenya. Indeed, my name is Marie Yambo. We have a lot lined up for you in the news, including the fact that the Parliamentary Finance Committee did meet in Naivasha over the weekend, and they have some details about some of the controversial clauses. I know people, the citizens did give their views in as far as the Finance Bill 2023 is concerned, so we'll be bringing you details of that in the news. And something very interesting, Ram and Victor, did you know that I don't know whether to call them Africans or they're Indians with an African heritage that live in India? You know, they're called the Siddhis. You know, Tom did prepare a very interesting report, and that also will be coming up in the news, so you want to stay tuned for that. So let's start the news immediately, where the Parliamentary Committee on Finance has reached a consensus on all controversial clauses in the Finance Bill 2023. Kuria Kimani-led committee agreed to amend some of the controversial clauses after a 5-day retreat in Naivasha. Though they did not divulge which clauses had been amended, the committee said that all views and petitions from all members of the public had been addressed. Let's get the details.
Even as the debate over the fate of the contentious Finance Bill 2023 continues to rage on, with both leading political factions having their say on the matter. The Parliamentary Committee on Finance, led by Molo Member of Parliament Kimani Kuria, has reached a consensus on all controversial clauses in the Finance Bill of 2023.
I am happy to report that we are in agreement as a Committee of Finance and National Planning on the matters that we have deliberated upon on end, and we really appreciate all the feedback that we've got from the public, from the stakeholders. It has been quite a very engaging conversations.
Though they did not name the particular clauses that had been amended, the committee said that all views and petitions from members of the public had been addressed.
You know, our colleagues from opposition and even some from our coalition should know that they can actually write to the Speaker and make amendments. And this is amendments have been brought by members of Parliament at the floor of the House, and some of them have seen the light of day.
Despite the committee reaching a compromise, the political class continued to differ over the said bill.
Sisi kama watu wa Kericho tunawaambia mtu asijaribu kupinga bill ya finance, sababu tunataka wale wako chini wainuliwe waende wapi? Juu. Sisi tunataka tuwaambie tafadhali, ikiwa uko na pendekezo ambayo unaona it can make the bill better, you take it to Parliament.
This as businessman Jimmy Wanjigi has criticized the proposed finance bill, terming it as over-ambitious and unachievable.
And I can tell you, what you're going to see in the budget this week is very, very frightening to some of us. They are proposing to raise, in the next 1 year, 2.9 trillion out of taxation.
The committee is expected to table its report on Tuesday next week, ahead of the budget reading by Treasury Cabinet Secretary Njuguna Ndogo.
Abdiaziz Hashim reporting there. Now, President William Ruto has challenged African leaders to lobby for the removal of the current global financial system, which he maintains is prejudicial to the continent. The president, who was addressing the Djibouti National Assembly, said Africa has been profiled as risky for investment on spurious grounds on the current climate crisis and would be brought under control once the global financial and governance framework facilitates the continent to emerge as a champion of a green industrial revolution.
President William Ruto was received in Djibouti by President Ismail Omar Guelleh. The two leaders held talks on strengthening existing ties as well as securing stability in the Horn of Africa. Ruto said he is committed to eliminating the barriers imposed by visa requirements for Djiboutian residents traveling to Kenya.
We will not only make it possible for people holding diplomatic passports and services passports to come to Kenya without the need for a visa, but I have also extended it to all the people of Djibouti, even those holding ordinary passports.
The two leaders signed a memorandum of understanding for cooperation in the field of energy. Additionally, the Kenya Electricity Generating Company will drill 2 geothermal wells in Djibouti. They also agreed on technical cooperation in establishing a framework for the development of a modern state-of-the-art facility in the field of sports and arts. They also signed an MOU on mutual cooperation in Foreign Service Academy and tourism and agreed for Kenya to support English language training and its integration into Djibouti's curricula. Kenya extended an offer of 300 positions in its higher learning institutions to Djiboutian students at the same fees applicable to Kenyan students. Additionally, President Ruto addressed Djibouti National Assembly, where he challenged members of parliament to solve Africa's problems through African solutions. He maintained his push for a just global financial system that would allow Africa to prosper and invest in technologies.
Africa has been arbitrarily and prejudicially profiled as risky for investment on entirely spurious grounds. As a result, the volumes and financing available for African development are traditionally minute, and the cost of these finances is notoriously extortionate. It is difficult to avoid concluding that in terms of development financing architecture, the global system is rigged against African progress.
He also called for reforms in the United Nations Security Council for the region's peace and stability, as well as urged African leaders to unite and push for the region's interests.
Do you know that only 5 countries of this world hold meaningful power in the UN Security Council? None of them is African. More than half of the world's population is not represented in the UN Security Council.
President Ruto will on Monday attend the 14th IGAD Ordinary Summit of Heads of State and Government. Nancy Okwara.
Thank you, Nancy Okware, for that report. Now moving on, and Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has urged security officers in Laikipia County to step up their efforts, that is, in combating the prevailing insecurity. Speaking at ACK Christ the King Pro Cathedral in Nyahururu town, the Deputy President said the government will not tolerate laxity in ensuring safety of the people.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua joined the faithful for a church service at ACK Christ the King Pro Cathedral in Nyahururu Town, Laikipia County. The event also doubled as a fundraiser to support the construction of an ultra-modern cathedral for the church. Here, Gachagua called on the security officers in the region to intensify operations, saying the government will ensure everyone was secure in the region.
Please, can you do your work? Yeah, mimi hiyo maneno ya vifo hapa sitaki. I mean, why? I'll call you for a meeting with the leaders, you tell me why. What you need from us, you tell us.
The Deputy President emphasized the government's commitment to bringing lasting peace to Laikipia County and fulfilling the pre-election promise.
We cannot have a situation pale watu wanauawa kama kuku, alafu watu hawalali, na nyinyi muko hapo, muko na mshahara, mumevaa uniform.
The Deputy President had no kind words for government administration officials and security officers abetting illicit brew businesses in the area of their jurisdiction.
So kama ni station commander, kama kwako iko pombe, iko madawa, pia uamue. Kiona umechoka na kazi, hakuna shida. Vijana ni wengi wanataka kazi ya kuwa OCS.
Gachagua at the time called for the support of the finance bill to enable the government to finance development projects across the country.
Hizi pesa lazima tutoe pahali fulani, na hatutaki kukopa deni kwa sababu Kenya karibu ipigiwe kengele.
The government says it will not tolerate protests and destruction of property over the outcome of the Finance Bill 2023 in Parliament. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki says Kenyan leaders must learn to use institutions provided to resolve any grievances. Kindiki, who was speaking in Tharaka Nithi, has also differed with those opposed to the regulation of religious organizations, saying the task force is not about limiting freedom of worship but weeding out rogue preachers.
Thank you very much, Miguel. So, Adel Mesawa was supposed to go to another place. Mungu akubariki sana. Senata wetu out of shilingi 100 hapo fungua.
How is it that now we had security agencies around Kilifi and they were not able to detect this? So that is what Senate now is really doing. We have already engaged in Kwale, in Kilifi County, a number of stakeholders. We had a session with the security apparatus in that county. So we are not going to, sideline the church in this. The committee is very clear. Our mandate is very clear. We want to engage the church so that then we see how best we can be able to don't have a situation like this in future. It is very important.
Mukame Ndota with that report. Now, the Senate committee investigating the Shakahola killings that left more than 200 people dead says it will lay bare its findings to the public immediately it completes the probe. William Cheptumo, a member of the ad hoc committee probing the Shakahola tragedy, says Kenyans have the right to know what transpired at Shakahola, while in Kabartonjo, Cheptumo called on Kenyans to be cautious with churches that preach outside the biblical doctrines. Last month, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki told the Senate that Mackenzie had hired gangs who would kill anyone attempting to escape from Shakahola grounds. The cult members were made to believe that their maker would return by end of this month.
How is it that now we had security agencies around Kilifi and they were not able to detect this.
Now to the story that I'd already alluded to, and that is only a handful of people are aware of this Afro-origin Indian tribe that lives in India with an African heritage. The cities, as they are known, were transported as slaves as early as the 7th century and identify as Indians, communicate in the Indian dialect, and follow the same local rituals and traditions. So what is their story? Tom Boya caught up with the Indo-African tribe, and they jetted into Kenya on Saturday morning ahead of India's Independence Day.
Saturday morning at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi. The Sidi community, an African Indian tribe who trace their lineage to Kenya and Tanzania, set foot on Kenyan soil. It was a moment of deja vu as they were received by officials of the Indian High Commission ahead of the celebrations to mark India's 75 years of independence. Their arrival in Kenya marking the beginning of a journey of tracing connections. The Kenyan-Indian link dates back to the arrival of Sidis to India through the Arab slave trade in 628 AD. A moment of deep reflection and joy for Hanif Sidi, a member of the cultural troupe Sidi Damal Goma. It is his first time in Kenya. It's possible his forefathers lived here hundreds of years ago.
So they are feeling very nicely. So they are telling that they are very happy to come here to meet their ancestors, like, when they went to India, they are just feeling that we are coming here in Kenya. So they are feeling very happy.
Although they are an African origin Indian group found mostly in Gujarat and Karnataka, they self-identify as Indians.
They are meeting with their brothers in Kenya and they are very happy and they are saying that we are here at their home. They are feeling like that.
The Sidi Goma dance troupe is in the country to perform at a cultural event to be held under the aegis of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Shortly after, it was time to head to the hotel. They then burst into song, no doubt, an indication that they kept their rich musical tradition alive throughout generations. They chant the melody adapted from the African rituals, which is a blend of Swahili, Hindi, and Gujarati languages. Their physical African characteristics are so visible. Today they have achieved socio-cultural integration in India and are foreigners to Kenya. The Indian Parliament approved some Sidis into a scheduled tribe list as recently as 2019. This means that they are now eligible for benefits like political representation, reserved seats in schools, and government jobs.
The exuberant energy and joy that the Sidi Goma bring on stage is both powerful and captivating. Their unique African Indian heritage, a fascinating discovery. On the 12th of June, they perform at the Jalaramo Auditorium in Parklands, an exhilarating experience to expect.
Thank you so much, Tom Boya, for that report. And we hope to actually bring you that celebration, which is today. And, it just got me thinking. We are just all connected, really, in the world. So we will be able to bring you that report when we can in our subsequent bulletins, hopefully by this evening. Now, moving on, former Northall Member of Parliament Francis Chachu has pledged his continued support to thousands of needy students struggling to raise school fees in northern Kenya. Kenya, Chachu, who was awarded the Sol Frainston Humanitarian Service 2023 award from St. Lawrence University's Alumni Executive Council in the United States, said he will utilize the money from the award to finance education for the needy. In the last 2.5 decades, through Northern Kenya Fund and Chalbi Scholars Organization, Chachu has, in collaboration with partners, supported 2,336 needy students. Chachu was speaking at Jomo Kenyatta Airport during a grand reception by North Hall residents and area political leaders.
The children are at home. Even those who are in the school are likely to drop out. Please, you have been the hope. Give them more hope. We hope that this time you have come a little bit energized. We shall be also there to support you in whichever way we can.
He has actually been supporting a lot of children in the northern region, particularly the North Horr, Kalacha, Maikona, and even by extension, like Sam's constituency, he has been supporting so many children. And education is the cornerstone of every development. So for that reason, actually, he's on the right track.
If you want to make a difference in our communities, in northern Kenya, in Marsabit County, and even in our nation, Kenya, we must invest in education. Education is everything. And I want to assure you that what you have started is just a beginning. We are going to see more. It's my dream that one day we'll have a university in Chalbi. Not just a school, a university in Chalbi, for us to really achieve what we want to achieve.
We head to sports now, where Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba has called on all rally stakeholders to expand and invest in talented youngsters to keep the cycle flowing as the country marks 70 years of rallying. The celebration of the rally legends on Saturday evening came just 12 days before the 2023 WRC Safari Rally Kenya, which will have 5 stages televised live on KBC Channel 1. Let's get the details.
With the WRC Safari Rally Kenya 11 days away, Kenyan rally legends including Patrick Njiru were celebrated in a ceremony which from this year will be held annually. The government has a sports and creative master plan which will go a long way in supporting all sports across the country and kicks off with this year's edition of the WRC Safari Rally Kenya.
Rallying truly knows no boundaries of color, knows boundaries of race, knows boundaries of tribe. Rallying just brings people together.
After a 19-year absence, the return of the Kenyan leg into the WRC series is a project the government wants to keep and has urged all stakeholders involved to expand and invest in youngsters who will keep the conveyor belt rolling.
The past of the rally is not just about rally cars zooming around. The rally inspired a lot of young people, and I'm just one of those.
158 legends were honored at the ceremony on Saturday evening in celebration of the 70 years Kenya has been involved in rallying.
My advice to you ladies, if you truly think you have the talent for driving or navigating, don't let anything stop you. It's a great sport, and your talent and ability is roaring near the surface. Go for it with all you've got, and you will get support from the powers that be.
KBC Channel 1 will be on to televise 5 stages of this year's WRC Safari Rally Kenya that has already attracted more than 30 drivers.
And I want in a very special way to appreciate our national broadcaster, the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. That is our broadcast partner for this year. But really, you cannot speak 70 years of rallying if you do not mention KBC VOK. Because it is voices like the voice of Leonard Mambo Mbotela, voices of people like Pauline Shego here, who brought the rally to us. Let's give it up to the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, KBC.
The Kenyan leg is the 7th round of the WRC series, coming after Rally Italia Sardinia and before Rally Estonia, set for the 20th to 23rd of July. After Estonia, the WRC will head to Finland, then Greece, Chile, Central European, and end the season at Rally Japan on the 16th to 19th of November.
Buckley further reporting there. Remember, the Safari Rally begins on the 22nd of this month, and indeed your true sports partner, that is KBC, will be televising it live. Now to matters tennis, where Kenya has been drawn in Pool A of the 2023 Billie Jean King Cup Africa Tennis Championship, are scheduled from the 12th to the 17th at Nairobi Club. The 5-day championship has attracted a dozen countries from the continent.
Kenya will start their campaign against top seeded Morocco tomorrow before playing neighbors Uganda on Tuesday. The host will be represented by a strong team that includes Angela Oktoi, Roslida Asumwa, Cynthia Cheruto and Alicia Owegi. Other teams in Pool A include Botswana, Nigeria and Namibia. Meanwhile, Pool B includes Tunisia, Ghana, Burundi, Zimbabwe, Mauritius and Seychelles.
I mentioned in the captain meeting before, we start with the second single, which is number 2, play number 2. After 20 minutes, we play number 1 against number 1. Doubles, you choose any players you wish. You can choose the same players. In singles, you can choose the 2 different player. And we said that after the second single, within 15 minutes, you can change the nomination of doubles.
The competition will start tomorrow and will end on Saturday, with teams seeking promotion to the next tier of the women competition. The tournament will be played in a round-robin format, where the winner will be promoted to the second-ranked division, while the bottom-place team will be relegated.
Indeed, that's where we end the news this morning. Thank you so much for starting your day with us here on Good Morning Kenya. We are not yet done. Ramaguko is here and Victor Lo is also on standby with Eye on Politics. We will also be able to bring you more news updates within the day, so you want to stay tuned. Thank you once again. My name is Maria and hope to see you again next time.
Were you at the Boys to Men concert over the weekend?
Yeah. No.
You're not there?
I wasn't there.
My name's Carl Tundo and I'm chairman of the local organising committee. It's completely hectic, but I've had fun trying to organise this event and assist, and we've got very capable people. And then on the flip side, I'm really looking forward to doing the event and competing in my 20th Safari Rally. Please come out and enjoy yourselves and yeah, just have fun. It's going to be a super event. KBC, definitely. It's fantastic to have them as our partner this year, and it's going to be on KBC Live as well, I think. So enjoy the show.
But your pride was stronger than that. And thanks to that, you'll marry someone else. But no one will love you like I do.
Call an ambulance!
What happened?
Quickly.
What happened?
And I know the consequences of what I want to do. I won't let him control me.
I'm not going to sentence myself to living a lie. I won't do it.
I have been thinking that maybe I should go back to the city.
So he did it then. That swine betrayed me. The scoundrel has no place left to call his own to die in. So if he was well dressed and drinking fine liquor, that means he already sold the document. That darn swine betrayed me.
Las bandidas. Sasa unaweza kupokea stesheni ya KBC Eastern Service kwa njia iliyomurwa baada ya KBC kuboresha na kuwekeza mitambo mipya ya kisasa ya kupeperusha matangazo. Pata matangazo kwa lugha ya Burji kila siku kuanzia saa 11 asubuhi hadi saa 4 asubuhi. Rendile Service itakuwa hewani kuanzia saa 4 asubuhi hadi saa 9 jioni. Kisha matangazo kupitia lugha ya Kiborana itachukua usukani kuanzia saa 9 hadi saa 2 usiku. Kutufungia jamvi ni Turukana Service watakaopeperusha matangazo yao kuanzia saa 2 usiku hadi saa 6 usiku. KBC Eastern Service inapatikana Lodwar na maeneo yaliyo karibu kupitia 98.3 FM. Na kwa wasikilizaji wa Burji, Rendile na Borana waliomo Marsabit na maeneo jirani, KBC Eastern Service inapatikana kwa mita bendi 98.7 FM.
And welcome back. Now it's time for me to ask the traffic marshal for now. And let me take you through what we have on our traffic, the outlook in the Nairobi CBD this particular morning just before you get out of your house. Let me start with the East London Massive. For those who are coming all the way from Donholm, that side of Donholm, you'll have a bit of, Manyanja looks pretty good. If you're coming from Manyanja Road, that side of B Center, Jesus Teaching Ministry, there we have got Greenspan Mall. It's looking pretty good. Coming down to Manyanja Road as you approach just that roundabout, it's okay. Manyanja Road coming down to Naivas Supermarket at the roundabout, that is now the underpass, the overpass, that interchange, joining Outer Ring, looking pretty okay. But it's a bit, bumper to bumper at the interchange there. But the entire situation here at the Outer Ring looks pretty good. Coming towards Outer Ring now, as you can see, it's okay. Towards Quickmart further, moving very well. As you come towards the airport road, that is where it starts to get a bit messy. Now, those who will be coming all the way from airport road, Kwandege, that's how they call it. Kwandege from Embakasi, it gets a bit messy from around Nyayo, Embakasi, thereabout, bumper to bumper, because there's always a T-junction there, actually, a feeder road joining Airport Road coming towards this interchange, and then towards this side towards JKIA, the airport landing, and of course now towards Cabanas is moving very well. Now let me take you how once you've come towards Uhuru Highway and now moving Nairobi Express Highway coming towards the CBD, it's moving pretty well. That is the Mara Mall. You can see there, it's all okay. But it starts to build up when you are just about to reach the General Motors. That is the GM. Bumper to bumper again, slightly. But all in all, Uhuru Highway is moving pretty well. Coming to Panari Hotel, all clear. That is for those people who are using Mombasa Road. Mombasa Road is very okay. That interchange at the Emara Hotel or Sereni, also towards the bypass, also looking very good. For those who are using Mombasa Road, you have got your moment here to enjoy that drive. So you have got two alternatives. Either you use the expressway or just use the normal Mombasa Road. ile ya chini, okay? Kuna ya juu na chini. So you can use either. And then now when you're approaching Kenya Mass, it starts to get a bit messy there, but it starts again to flow towards Nairobi West Hospital, and then as you join the roundabout, joining the Langata Road, and of course now at the Nyayo National Stadium, I mean, slightly busy, but still okay. For those who are using Aerodrome Road, you'll have to be a bit patient there, but there are always cops around that place, you know, taking that corner to Bunyala Road, heading towards Upper Hill. They're always there. And the roundabout is a bit messy. For those who are coming from industrial area, joining Bunyala roundabout, you're also going to be slightly patient. But after that, coming into the CBD now and adjoining Haile Selassie Avenue, it's always normal to have a bit of some snarl up at this particular section, but you still have got a way to get into the CBD. Now, coming into the CBD, still looking okay, all right? Still looking very good. There is no traffic as at now until probably later on in the day around 9, thereabout, or even 10, when everybody shall have arrived at the CBD. Now, if you're coming from, let me talk about those people who are coming towards University Way, Kangemi, Wayaki Way. You have all the reasons to celebrate. You have all the reasons to celebrate. From Kangemi, the expressway, it looks pretty well. Very, very, very good. Coming all the way from Kangemi, Wayaki Way, looking very good. ABC Place, no traffic at all. No traffic at all. So if you want to leave your house right now, please do it right now if you want to make it into the CBD in a record time. But for those people who are joining from Red Hill, those people from around, you know, Ruaka and all those other sides of Nairobi, they will be coming and join the James Gishuru. And these are the same people who will now come and join the other side of Ngong Road. They'll have to be a bit patient because at that particular point, there is always a bit of some traffic as you join that particular area. And what am I talking about? Here it is, ABC Place. Now, that is coming from Ruaka, that is Red Hill. It looks very okay until you come to join the Red Hill and James Gishuru roundabout. Now it starts to build up from James Gishuru coming down to Lavington Green. You can see it's all red, both sides, because now this is one of the shortcuts for those people who are coming all the way from that side of Kaloa Kapete, Ruaka, those sides of Kikuyu, and they don't want to get to the CBD. First of all, they'll have to branch to James Gishuru and join, either come all the way to Lavington Green. You see the way it looks like? It's all red until you come to the Embassy of Czech Republic. Lavington Green, it starts to easen up as you come towards the Lavington shopping mall. But then it's all messy. We all understand why. It's a shortcut, but there are always cops around there to make sure that that traffic and that situation, that area is always moving. But when you come towards the issue of Lavington, coming to Kileleshwa, those coming to Likoni Road, you'll have to be a bit patient as well, because that is what is happening. You can use either Loitoktok Road, come and find yourself to Ring Road Kileleshwa, or even use Arboretum Road if you can, and you'll find your way into the CBD. How about Ngong Road? Okay. Before Ngong Road, Agwings Kodhek looks pretty okay. For those people who are using Agwings Kodhek, Kilimani Primary thereabout, and CJ's Kilimani, you're coming to Yaya Center, still looking very good. To 4 points by Sheraton, that is around Hurlingham, and of course coming towards DOD, then down to Valley Road, the situation looks good until you come to Kenyatta Avenue. So if you're using Agwings Kodhek, coming to Valley Road, you still have got a moment to enjoy that drive towards the CBD. Okay, and finally, Ngong Road, Watuangong, this is now your time. Start to build up. If you're approaching the Coptic around thereabouts, and of course coming towards City Mortuary, you'll always find a bit of some traffic, but right now it still looks good. It still looks good. You have to make it. If you don't have that time to come towards Ngong Road, then you can still use Ring Road, Kilimani, join to Yaya Center, and then Agwings Kodhek down to Valley Road, and finally into the CBD. Ngong Road starts to build at around the junction. Now, there's always a traffic light here at the junction. So most people who usually come from Kingara Road, that section from James Gishuru, as I told you, from all the way from Lavington, they come and clamp here at Kingara Road, joining junction and ultimately on to Ngong Road. Now, That's where the problem usually happens. But then if you are coming towards Ngong Road, outside heading towards Ngong, Karen, it's always very okay. So watu wa Ngong, time yenu kidogo mkifika hapo Junction Mall, tabidi mtulie kidogo, coming towards RFU ground, Impala Club, thereabout, but then the rest of the traffic is always flowing. So that is how it looks like in the CBD. If you are planning to come to Nairobi, this is your time to start your journey into the CBD. For us, we are here, we didn't experience any traffic. All right, that's the traffic. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with the headlines very shortly. Stay with us. Okay, thank you for staying with us. Now let's go straight into what we have on our local dailies. Let me start with the front page of the Standard. And on the front page of the Standard, the newspaper reads, Reforms, Diploma Shocker to Universities. Reforms, Diploma Shocker to Universities. In new proposals to be presented to the President later this week, experts say that universities should not offer diploma and certificate courses, a move that will make many institutions drop facilities, lecturers and students. In new proposal to be presented to the President later this week, experts say that universities should not offer diploma and certificate courses, a move that will make many institutions drop facilities, lecturers and students. That is in the new proposal. I'll give you more details shortly. That story actually is fleshed out there for you on page 6 of the Standard newspaper. Raila in new mass action threat if levies are raised. He spoke yesterday, warning that if the new tax bill passes as is, then there will be demonstrations. But CS Interior, Kithure Kindiki, warns that there will be no more demonstrations in the country. Life has to go on. That story is on the front page of the Star newspaper. I'll give you that shortly. President William Ruto was in Djibouti. Ruto cedes ground, moves to amend tax proposal. That is what we have here on the front page as well. And still on the front page, churches caught up in land grabbing scandals. Where will we hide our heads? Churches caught up in land grabbing scandals. That is on page 12 and 13 of the Standard newspaper. Activists fear killer police are back with vengeance. Haki Africa complaining and alleging that the killer group, the killer squad, is back. Haki Africa raises concerns over forced disappearance of civilians. According to the lobby group Yusuf Gassana, a Rwandese is the latest victim of abduction, and they're now calling for his whereabouts and the police to give more details. 3 men grabbed him from his house, tied his hands, and dragged him to a waiting car. And now Haki Africa is calling for police to hasten the investigations. Reprieve for Sudi as court declines to issue arrest warrant. That is after the Environment and Lands Court in Eldoret declined to issue orders for the arrest of Kapseret MP Oscar Sudi over land tussle with administrators of Kihor Arab Talai Estate, that is in Uasin Gishu County. Again, Raila warns of mass protest if finance bill sails through. Raila warns of protest if finance bill sails through, says that non-stop anti-government demos may resume on July 3rd if finance bill is passed by Parliament. Azimio leaders also blamed Kenya Kwanza for collapse of bipartisan talks. As always, at this particular point, this is the point that I bring in my guest, and let me bring in Daniel Orogo to chime in on this one and get to hear his voice. Warm up. Daniel, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
My first question, how is Kenya doing?
Well, I think it's a mixed reaction as to where we are. First is a country that is grappling. It's also part of the global communities that are grappling with the effects of, economic downturn and recovery to post-COVID, and the issues that are coming out of regimic change, adjustment of policies here and there. So, so far things are not okay. If you ask the local, the mamamboga and the hustlers, as was predicted, there's no reprieve. Things are tough on people, and to be honest, I think the country needs a sober conversation on the state of the nation with regards to our leadership, with regards to our economic performance, and also with regards to the global policies in the background of economic crisis. So I think that is where we are. The state of the nation is at its weakest. It has never been this way before. Yes.
All right. Gerald Minishi, joining me on set for the first time. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you so much.
Let me get your voice on this, and how is Kenya doing from your own assessment?
Currently, as a country, we are experiencing political and economic pressures, and this is evident, especially with the high cost of living and different conflictual relations between different political parties. Yeah, so I feel like we need to have this conversation around these issues.
Okay, I'll come back to you very shortly. We'll have to fix something on your sound there. Apologies for that. All right, we'll be right back with Gerald. Let me continue with the Daily Nation, with the Standard. MPs to amend disputed finance bill clauses. That is according to Parliamentary Committee on Finance Chair Kuria Kimani, who says that most likely there will be some amendments. The Parliamentary Committee says that views and petitions from the public have been addressed. They've had their time to do their report, and now, however, they did not divulge which clauses had been amended. That is according to them. And now the committee led by Molo Member of Parliament Kuria Kimani agreed to amend some of the controversial clauses after a 5-day retreat in Naivasha. Though it did not divulge which clauses had been amended, the committee said that all views and petitions from members of the public had been addressed. We'll be waiting to see, because it's going to be a heavy week in Parliament this week once that bill is presented to the House for the second reading. In the last couple of weeks, the issue of 3% housing levy and 16% value-added tax on petroleum products have dominated talks, with the opposition calling for the bill to be withdrawn. That is, wait and see how that is going to be, which clauses have been amended and taken into consideration by the committee. And now, as you say, there is this issue of MCAs. And now, speaking to the chair yesterday, a total of 19 county assemblies across the country have so far suspended their operations indefinitely. That is according to the chair, who actually told me that 19 county assemblies have so far suspended their operations, and Vihiga County Assembly is the latest to halt services over salary dispute. So we had that discussion here around 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they said that they need their issues addressed. Talking to the SRC, that they needed some of their remunerations taken care of, but that has not been forthcoming. Experts now want universities to drop certificate and diploma courses. I really don't know how this is going to happen, but according to the expert, and of course this report is going to be handed over to the president later this week, how is it going to be? Gerald, before you get into that, before you fixed your microphone, I ask a question: how is Kenya situation right now, state of the country?
Yeah, we are in a very bad shape economically and politically, especially with the rising political and economic pressures. This is not right, because if you look at the incumbent government, it had laid some promises for the common mwananchi, for Kenyans. Yet some Kenyans right now, they feel like they are cheated, they feel like they have been duped, and they feel also that they are not included in these discussions around policies and taxes. So this finance bill that is going to be passed is going to rather take a large toll, especially on those people of lower income levels. So it's going to be an interesting conversation. Yeah.
And of course, when you look at MPs amending the finance bill, Daniel, of all they'll have to divulge which clauses they have taken into consideration. But what do you make of this? I mean, does it mean that the Kenyans' voices have been heard in terms of public participation, and they have to be captured in the report?
Of course, that is the essence of public participation. And we are at a state where all the public servants and most of people think that public participation is a matter of formality. Let me remind you that public participation is ingrained in Article 10 of the Constitution as one of the national values of principles of good governance. It is in the Constitution. So in that sense, it means that it should be meaningful and it should have an outcome that is desired. Now, you've seen there is tons of petitions and input that were made by the citizens from various factions who approached the committee led by Kimani Kuria to give their opinions as so far as the amendments that they foresee in the finance bill. Victor, I think it's also important to underscore the fact that people and most Kenyans have been hoodwinked to think that there are only 3 contentious issues in the finance bill. They talk about VAT, they talk about housing levy fund, and they talk about some digital tax. You understand?
Yes.
If you read that, and I've carefully looked at that bill, you find that there are almost 12 avenues where the government would want to tax Kenyans, including you disputing that tax are levied to you irregularly, Victor. That is how it can go. By the moment you just even dispute that KRA has, inflated some cost on you that you need to pay, before the hearing, you need to deposit a dispute fee. These are some of the things probably Kenyans have not been treated to understand with the issues of the finance bill. But as you may, you've pointed out, I think the retreat in Naivasha is able to come up with a win-win situation. Because at the end of the day, one of the things that we can't also sit and dispute and also mislead Kenyans, that we cannot reject this bill in totality. I think it's also important to also tell the opposition that it is impossible. The government tax the citizens to run the government and to give the public services to deliver. So any factions or any person telling you that these bills need to be rejected in totality, I think is also pushing Kenyans so that, we put a government in a situation where we want to run a crisis as a country. And that is not really tenable, that is not really realistic. So for me, I think one of the conversations that we should be having is what is the win-win situation in this country with regards to the Finance Bill 2023. And lastly, I think it's important for us, and this is what we said always in the panel, Victor, that some of these conversations are too costly to leave to political class. The moment you leave them to political class, then we are having a situation where politicians are going to rub shoulders with the most important thing that are affecting the country, like paying taxes and service delivery. It is expensive for Kenyans to leave this issue to only politicians. We should be hearing to the experts that give their opinion. The Kenyan Manufacturers Association gave their opinion. All these experts, all these taxpayers association, all these trade unions, all these civic aviation industries that has given their opinion, Media Owners Association, do we listen to them? I think it's important for us as a country to know who we are listening to and which voices are critical that we give a priority to.
Very well. Okay. Very quickly, on to the Star newspaper here. On the front page of the Star newspaper, big names line up to replace Haji as DPP. Big names line up to replace Haji as DPP. Insiders said to be keen on their own being picked instead of newcomer. Insiders said to be keen on one of their own being picked instead of newcomer. The Star has that story there fleshed out there for you on page 4 and page 5. And on the front page, this Sauti Sol, good to mention that the curtain raised for the Boys to Men with thrilling performance over the weekend. I did not attend. But from the quarters, I know it was okay. Any song by Boys to Men? Gerald Orogo, if you can remember, I know you were born in the 70s or something. Okay, let's come back home. Let's come back home. Let's come back home.
Of course, you saw the disappointments that Kenyans really tried to attach the meaning of boys to men visiting, and you saw the advertisement that were made, Victor.
Yeah.
and VVIP and VIP payment that are here. But you see, look, how do we really? To use the better little term of it, we glorify a lot of,
But all of us ought to have attended, by the way. Gerard, if you've attended,
we glorify a lot of these entertainment things, entertainment from foreigners. We are having our own local industry.
Yeah.
And by the way, we shouldn't be having our local, artists curtain raising. Why should be always that they have to be curtain raising?
Who did you expect?
Anyway, I'm a fan of reggae music.
Beyonce. Okay. All right. Very quickly, let's head to what there. The story of big names being lined up to replace Haji says that Ruto is in a fix as some of his close confidants are salivating for the job. Yusuf Haji, Nurdin's rather, was floated, but he's faced a bit of some rejection and objection from other quarters. Homicide team joins Brazil missionary murder probe. Brazilian missionaries murder probe. His body was found on June 8th at about 1 a.m. by locals who called police. No more ARV pills. Experience of patient on long-acting jab. But patients fear that this will happen to them when the trial ends next year. We have to be very careful. MPs to table amended finance bill document after public input, and the Parliamentary Committee on Finance has made some amendments, of course, to the controversial finance bill of 2023, led by Kimani MP. Kimani Kuria said that they'll present that report to the House for the necessary action. All right, let's take a break, and we'll come back. We're still going to continue with what's on the Daily Nation and slightly inside the Star newspaper. Thereafter, we'll continue with our discussion on iron politics. Stay with us.
Welcome to East Africa. This is Safari Rally Kenya.
The WRC Safari Rally set for June 22nd to June 25th in Naivasha. This year's event, the 7th leg of the WRC calendar, consisting of 19 stages, will see drivers, among them defending champion and series leader Khalid Vampera, battle in what's considered as the toughest rally in the world. KBC Channel 1 will bring you the action to your living room, where a total of only 5 stages will be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1 and the Shakedown exclusive on our Facebook page. Catch the WRC Safari Rally on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
야, 나 개강이 네가 가봐. 아, 근데 지난번에 말했잖아. 또 까먹었냐? 어?
자, 그냥 갑시다. 모른다고 하잖아.
걔도 가시고 청와대도 가시고 왜 안 되면 교황님한테 가서 이러세요. 일로.
Wajiku. Hii kirere unaleta hapa ya kufanya kazi ya wengine ndio fanye nini?
Ala, bwana uchui?
Aki mama, unanibeba kasichui aje. Basi ni sawa basi, geuka basi ngopatie surprise.
Sasa ine gani?
Sasa uko busy katika chatting, tuna chat na nani?
Mimi anakaa brother yake. Anawitagua na milioni moja kwa bahali utumi.
Mmeamua kuniharibia siku kabisa. mpaka kiti bosi yangu.
Anataka kukalia wewe. Unafungua kama kabati.
Tendo hiyo. Simama kama gamia, kwa nini beba vitu hapa?
Akikusumbua sana. Mbate mumba subscriber, it's not available at the moment. Try again later.
My name is George Mwangi, Deputy Clerk of course for the WRC Safari Rally. I'm the one assigned the Kasarani Super Special Stage. For the spectators who will not be able to make it to the stages, our national broadcaster, KBC, will be broadcasting on Thursday, live, Thursday, Saturday and Sunday. So, if you can't make it to the stages, tune in to KBC. Channel 1.
All right, let's come back to what we have on the Star newspaper. I was giving you a quick rundown on what we have on the Star here. Very quickly onto the inner pages. Top lawyers line up to replace Haji as DPP. We have got top lawyers here. One of them is Anna Madi. We have got Dorcas Oduor, Kioko Kilokumi. We have got Katwa Kigen, Nelson Harvey, and Taib Ali Taib. These are the top lawyers who are actually lining up to replace Haji as DPP. Let me give you their brief profile. Kioko Kilokumi is a senior counsel. Dorcas Oduor, Secretary of Public Prosecutions. Katwa Kigen is a veteran lawyer. We all know Katwa Kigen. For those people who can remember him, we all know Katwa Kigen during the ICC trials. Taib Ali Taib is also a veteran lawyer. He's appeared in so many cases. Ann Amadi is the chief registrar, the current chief registrar of the judiciary. Victor Mule, deputy director, office of the director of public prosecution. Emily Kamau, deputy director, ODPP. Rashid Kator, who is also deputy director, ODPP. Jacinta Nyamosi, deputy director, ODPP. Grace Murungi, deputy director, ODPP. And Alois Kemo, deputy director, ODPP. We have got how many deputy directors? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, all battling to replace their boss. It's a tough job. So if you ask me, Gerald, for those people who are lining up to get the position of Haji, Gerald, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like personally I'm rooting for Nelson Harvey. I think Nelson Harvey, he has been a president of the Law Society of Kenya, and I think that his experience is something that we cannot underestimate. Although all candidates there, I can see they have a very good profile, and I also think in matters to do with the integrity, Harvey is still a candidate that we can look upon.
Yeah. And if you look at all these people, Daniel, these are accomplished lawyers and senior counsels in the profession. I mean, Kioko Kilokumi, Dorcas, Anamadi, Kigen, Harvey, Taib. These are men and women who are up to the task.
Yeah, I mean, the task of public prosecution, like you said, it's a balance of prosecution, but also protecting human rights. So there needs to be a mix of the qualities and the qualifications of one service of director of public prosecution. You understand that in the list, the people that you've listed, some of them are still struggling with court cases as we speak. You understand? Anna Madi's case, is within the hearing of the court about the gold, whatever golds come. All these, most of these have either one or two issues. Kioko Kilokumi, an accomplished profile.
And I think if you could remember the Kibaki era, there was a time that Kibaki had proposed Kioko Kilikumi as one, either I think the Director of Public Prosecution or maybe some position in this country, in Kibaki regime, if you can remember by that time. So I think, one, my issue is that beyond accomplishment, there needs to be a serious track record of safeguarding human rights. There needs to also be a track record of, one who is independent in mind. And because the office really needs to be devoid of, politicians calling the shots. And, the shots being called, from different offices to, prosecute and drop these cases here and there. Cases that are fronted for prosecution to the direct office of the Director of Public Prosecution. So I think for me, that sums it up. You might have qualifications, you might have the experience, but again, as a country, we really need also to vet you with regards to the qualities of leadership and integrity chapter, because then you should be, sparkling. And our ideal is that the one who holds this office should prosecute without being reminded that they have a case, that could begin to derail their efforts in terms of pushing forward to prosecution. Why? The court cases of corruption in the backlog that we are having in this country, that needs to be experienced by someone who is qualified and have opportunity to do that.
Okay. Very quickly, let me take you through the front page of the Daily Nation. Finally, on the front page of the Daily Nation, what do we have here? Ruto following in Uhuru's footsteps. That is on the front page of the Daily Nation. Ruto following in Uhuru's footsteps. Why? The same script. He vowed to chart his own path during the campaigns, but after just 9 months in office, the actions and policies of President William Ruto's administration have so far done little to differentiate it from that of his predecessor, Uhuru Kenyatta. At a glance, failure to meet two-thirds gender rule, housing fund, plans to lease out ports, chronism in state appointments, CAS appointments, entrenching state capture of independent institutions, use of political numerical advantage to bulldoze legislators or legislations or proposals, luring opposition MPs to government side, and finally, competence-based curriculum. What's the take on this, Joral?
You are right. I agree with you, Victor, that Ruto, in one way or the other, he has tried to follow the footsteps of former President Uhuru Kenyatta. And may I remind you also that Kenya is a closed political system. Since we are a closed political system, there are no checks and balances, there is no transparency, and the politics of the belly. So where we find it's like the leaders, we have nepotism and leaders scrambling for the national cake for their own personal aggrandizement. So if you look at from the time Ruto ascended into power up to now, you will realize that there are some policies which were almost in tandem with the former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Number one, that's what I have raised, the issue about two-thirds gender rule. It is an issue that it has not been addressed as such. It's something that is still eating up, we have not stepped up to the task. Number two, the issue about appointments. This is an issue I think, I thought when Ruto was campaigning and giving his manifesto to the common wananchi, I felt like that he was serious about appointments. Maybe he will diversify his appointments, but unfortunately it's the same pattern. So the political pedigree that has hunted us, since our independence is the same pattern that we are witnessing right now, and it's very sad. So it's even, and I think this is also one among the issues that is demoralizing most Kenyans, because if you look at even the finance bill, but it is not about the finance bill per se. It is about the accountability part of it. Can we trust this government? So there's the decline in trust. In that issue.
All right. Ruto following footsteps, of course, scrapping off the previous administration's blueprint and the track record is always not easy. When you look at even President Uhuru Kenyatta, he picked from where President Mwai Kibaki left. When you look at what the late Moi had, President Mwai Kibaki picked a few pieces and completed. It's always in every administration that where your predecessor left, you pick and run with that. Actually, it's a silent program that a majority of Kenyans do not even understand, that each and every administration we have to follow. We have got Vision 2030, so to speak. So whatever is captured in Vision 2030, the governments and administrations will always pick and run with them. So President William Ruto picking what Uhuru left is not a shock anymore.
I think I have a...
And there's actually no problem with it, because like you've mentioned, blueprints and policies, and this is why before any regime get into power, there's always time for transition. You remember from handing over from one within the transition, then there is those kind of conversation about the policies to further. And like you said, some of these policies are ingrained in living documents. You've mentioned the Vision 2030, which of course tried to revise our economical policy from sessional paper number 10. That was done way long before. Tomboy and Mwai Kibaki did that. And within a number of time, the government tried to change and adjust, and that we had our Vision 2030. Of course, being the contemporary blueprint that all economic policies are trying to be anchored in. So I see there is really no really serious concern. But only the issue comes in now when some of these policies are either misinterpreted or they're being overdone away with to communicate a political standpoint, a political grandstanding. There is no any other way. Even if we would have elected the other Azimio government, we wouldn't have expected anything to change. And in fact, most of these policies could have been furthered. The difficulty of getting into regime, like you said, is 9 months since the government was sworn in. It's a very short time. For Kenyans to think that some of these policies are going to be cut short, just done away with. And I want to give you an example and what is really grappling this country. You remember the subsidies in maize flour, and when the regime got in, they did away with it. You understand? Right now, Kenyans are now thinking, and there is a very gap. People are asking why, what is happening with the maize subsidies? Because the regime got into power and they decided, just to do away with it. No process of consultation, no process of, trying to consult experts on what would be the effects of us doing away with this, and so a number of policies. So I think for me, there is no really a big issue to it, except when it's taken to extreme and is eating into, the delivery of services and the performance of the government. So we didn't expect so much changes on these.
All right. All right. So let me continue with what we have. There is a scare that there is a return of COVID-19. God, we don't need to get back there. We really don't need to go back there. Return of COVID-19. Kenyans are to be careful as hospitals report more COVID-19 cases. I'll give you more details shortly. But as it is, there is a scare that there's a return of COVID-19. In fact, just before I get there, let me just get you the details. It's fleshed out here on page 10. Hospitals struggle to provide oxygen as COVID-19 cases rise. In Beijing, China, the number of new coronavirus infections has quadrupled in 4 weeks. Now, the country could be experiencing a silent surge in the number of patients requiring oxygen as the country faces a new wave of COVID-19. In the recent past, a number of Kenyans have tested positive for the virus, with many experiencing severe symptoms that warrant oxygen therapy to enable them to breathe. Now, last week, of course, the name has been withheld. Angela went to one of the country's leading private hospitals after experiencing breathing difficulties. On arrival, she was told that all that machines were busy and that the number of Kenyans needing oxygen was quite increasing. And it's reported that the COVID-19 is bad. Now, according to one nurse who was quoted, said that it's no lie. We are seeing about 4 patients a day coming in needing oxygen. We should be worried. I covered COVID-19 pandemic. I remember the first week of COVID-19, which was when it was first reported here. I was sent to Mbagathi Isolation Center, the quarantine center, and the picture is still fresh in my eyes. The picture is still there. People who arrived from Beijing, China, from Germany, we all remember, they were taken into isolation. And for you to get dressed in those PPEs and seeing someone struggle to breathe, COVID-19 was a scare to all of us. How I survived it, I have no idea. Believe you me, how I survived that thing, I have no idea. But
and you see, just like you put it, the picture might be gross. Let me tell you, the county services preparedness to handle any crisis, medical crisis. The doctors are already threatening to lower their tools. Okay? You understand in the counties?
Yeah.
You've alluded to, as you're going through, that the county assemblies, 19 of them, are on a go-slow. That means that any financial conversations or bills cannot be passed in the county assemblies.
Yes.
And therefore, we are looking at a situation when the revenue that should be going to the counties have been delayed. The nurses, the servants and public servants in the counties have issued and have gone to a go-slow. And then we are here still talking about COVID-19, a threat that might come. You understand?
It is a global threat.
It is a global threat.
Yeah.
And you see, like you said, in Kenya is an open, it's a transition zone. This country is a transition zone. Anyone committing to different parts of Africa gets through JKIA here to major transition and load shedding on all over in each and every country. So we really need to look at this issue critically and issue an alert, not just only to speak about it, but our Ministry of Health should be on a standby to issue an alert in preparedness, especially now when it gets to counties. That is my worry.
The question is, Gerald, because what is talked about, the preparedness. I mean, when you look at the national government, the country itself, we were caught unawares because it was a new phenomena that not even the health sector was prepared for such an event. But thank goodness, Kenyans, we managed somehow. And much as Africa was expected to report the highest number of deaths in the world, that did not happen. Bring it back home. Are we ready? If at all we have any right now.
Yeah, I think the million-dollar question that we should ask is what lessons have we learned?
Even in the past.
Yeah, that's very important, because if we are going to suffer the same challenges that we faced at the beginning, then I think that we have not learned anything. We have not adopted to the COVID-19 and emergency response preparedness. And I think this is very important. We need to build resilient structures to curb with the future pandemics and crises. So I think our country, this is also a test to our economic models and our government administration on how they can handle future crisis when it comes here. So I think this wave, this new wave should not come to us as a surprise, because we knew that such pandemics can happen, especially when we were hit by COVID-19. Remember, COVID-19, it tore apart the roots of economic progress. So we should have learned from that and implemented further mechanisms that are robust.
And I agreed, and the lessons that Gerald have put it. But also it brings into the issues of we are producing, doctors and medics. We are pioneering as a country. We're even pioneering, the test of vaccines. You understand? Oxford, AstraZeneca, and all these vaccines were pioneered in this country. They were tested here. And so, even as much as we are into this asking, then what next as a country and as Kenyans strategically positioned, but then what is our institutions of research, KEMRI, and the rest? Why haven't we, looked into
what have we produced with regards to COVID-19? With other countries have produced, vaccines. South Africa has done that, UK have done that, Americans have done that, but they are pioneered in this country. Do we have medics who are able right now? And I agree with what Gerard has said. One of the lessons, apart from the economic effects and, the global effects that it has, are we still got into surprise that our medical fraternity has not really pioneered to know which variant are we going to deal with it, because there's another variant, this COVID-19. It's not the same one. It keeps on mutating.
Yeah.
Which one are we going to deal with as a country? And Kenyans, its positions and the facilities, universities that are producing, doctors, what is our institutions of research prepared with, all aspects of preparedness, if at all, that, it is true that we are having a new wave in the variant of COVID-19.
Yeah.
It has to bring to fore a number of things as a country.
Exactly. And even the preparedness, from the way you put it, from our government, the county government, do we have oxygen plants in our hospitals? Do we have preparedness in terms of the PPEs? Right now, KEMSA is still embroiled in the back and forth between the government and the officers there. But down to the common mwananchi, somebody would argue that the common mwananchi somehow got comfortable with the situation and we forgot about it. Because when you ask somebody will tell you, it was a tough time. So when COVID-19 was declared not a threat globally by WHO, Kenyans, as usual, we went back to our normal survival. But as you put it, there was a sense of some variant mutating somewhere, silently mutating within our communities.
Yes.
So what should you do, Gerald?
Yeah, there's a sense of urgency. First of all, if I can pick something positive about the finance bill 2023, I think they've done away with the vaccine. I think vaccine tax on a vaccine.
Yes.
So that will prompt, the medics to produce vaccine freely. So I think number one, we need to increase research, to fund the research institutions. Number two, we need to embrace, or rather to Kenya, from the top political leadership, they need to carry out civic education on these matters to do with COVID-19, and not just COVID-19. Every other, there's tuberculosis, malaria, there are other diseases which are concerned to us. Yeah, so I think education is key, and the research is also fundamental.
Yeah. All right. So, gentlemen, let's all agree that you need to be very careful. Even you out there, you need to be very careful. At the end of the day, it's about, we don't need to go back where every Kenyan would, we remember that question, fellow Kenyans. It was a familiar line. And any time we saw former president calling for a press conference, either in State House or Arambe House, we all had an extension of curfew, lockdowns, and cessations, and all that. It was not an easy thing for Kenyans for close to 3 years.
Of course, and you see also matters of food security, Victor. COVID-19 hit so much also for us to understand that, issues of producing food that builds human immunity, in the villages as well. Because we understand that the issue of having a balanced diet, because now you want us to narrow it down to understand where we are coming from in the villages. Matters of having nutritious food that builds your immune system is equally very important. And I think these are some of the issues we really need to have a sober debate about. Because like you said, people seem to be used to the COVID-19. The government say that you can now walk without masks, and you can now adapt to situation. But then we forgot, what does this pandemic always hits at? That we should always be looking, even as we are dealing with, the resilience, as we are building the resilience. But then it was expected that even after this one, it is a virus that keeps mutating. It will come in a different form. It is here with us, still this virus. What we've just done is to build our immunity. But if the researchers and the medics can tell you, if a virus, a stubborn virus as this one, builds, if people build the resilience and immunity around, it also coils and begin to mutate again. The stubborn as it is. So I think let's get ready and know that COVID-19 is still with us. It's not that we only build an immunity, but of course it will come back in different way.
All we need to do is to be very careful. So gentlemen, let's talk about the state of the nation today on our eye on politics. This week is going to be so heavy. Let me start with you, Gerald. This week is going to be so heavy, more so for parliamentarians. They are, so to speak, in a straitjacket between a rock and a hard place. Kenyans are on this end. The electorates are watching at their members of parliament, whichever way they are going to vote. The executive also waiting for parliament to approve the budget, the bill 2023. We all know that we have to get there because the government must get the budget to run the affairs of the country. So as we speak right now, what do you really think is running through the minds of Kenyans, the president, but most importantly, the legislators?
Number one, I think Kenyans, most Kenyans are frustrated. Frustrated because, remember earlier when you were talking about the finance bill, you know, this finance bill, we are not, it was not, the Pandora box of the finance bill was not opened up to the public. That's why my colleague here say that there's more into the finance bill than just housing, housing levy and the VAT on petroleum. So most Kenyans, they don't have that knowledge. I don't know if I can say civic educationists, but they are not aware of the contents, the main contents, the key ingredients of the finance bill 2023. And most of them feel like, the government is using this tool to weaponize it, or rather to use it as a weapon to frustrate, especially those people from lower middle class level. So, number one, I think parliamentarians are under pressure. They're under pressure because, number one, the people are the one who elected them to power. Yeah. So they are caught into contrast between either to respect the executive or to bow to the pressure of the common man who are crying, high cost of absolutely high cost of living, etc. But unfortunately, the sad part of it, I think, is that this bill may likely pass. It may pass. Yeah, it might pass because these politicians, we know them. They will prioritize the government, the executive, and not the common man. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a break. And when we come back, I'm still going to get into that discussion because we have been talking about the finance bill 2023. There are good things about it because at the end of the day, a budget has to be read. Either way, a budget has to be read. Only that certain clauses need to be amended. The government might have certain proposals, but because of the public participation, which Kenya's actually embraced in the last 2-3 weeks, is something that I'm so sure even the government did not expect. We have got entities who presented their memoranda in their thousands, 1,000 plus, and they had their voices heard. We had the common mwananchi, call them the common quote unquote, who also presented their views. So I'd like to talk about the issue of public participation. Have we become of age as Kenyans? Are we getting into our space where it's provided for by the Constitution? Are we now starting to distinguish between the four arms of the three arms of government? And now there is another government we are forgetting, the mwananchi. I call it the government.
Yes, it's the main bedrock.
The main bedrock of all these three. Let's talk about all that when we come back after this break. Stay with us.
My name's Carl Tundo and I'm chairman of the local organising committee. It's completely hectic, but I've had fun trying to organise this event and assist, and we've got very capable people. And then on the flip side, I'm really looking forward to doing the event and competing in my 20th Safari Rally. Please come out and enjoy yourselves and yeah, just have fun. It's going to be a super event. KBC, definitely, it's fantastic to have them as our partner this year, and it's going to be on KBC Live as well, I think. So enjoy the show.
But your pride was stronger than that. And thanks to that, you'll marry someone else. But no one will love you like I do.
Call an ambulance!
What happened? What happened?
And I know the consequences of what I want to do. I won't let him control me. I'm not going to sentence myself to living a lie. I won't do it.
I have been thinking that maybe I should go back to the city.
So he did it then. That swine betrayed me. The scoundrel has no place left to call his own to die in. So if he was well dressed and drinking fine liquor, that means he already sold the document. That darn swine betrayed me.
Las Bandidas. Sasa unaweza kupokea stesheni ya KBC Eastern Service kwa njia iliyomurwa baada ya KBC kuboresha na kuwekeza mitambo mipya ya kisasa ya kupeperusha matangazo. Pata matangazo kwa lugha ya Burji kila siku kuanzia saa 11 asubuhi hadi saa 4 asubuhi. Rendile Service itakuwa hewani kuanzia saa 4 asubuhi hadi saa 9 jioni. Kisha matangazo kupitia lugha ya Kiborana itachukua usukani kuanzia saa 9 hadi saa 2 usiku. Kutufungia jamvi ni Turukana Service watakaopeperusha matangazo yao kuanzia saa 2 usiku hadi saa 6 usiku. KBC Eastern Service inapatikana Lodwar na maeneo yaliyo karibu kupitia 98.3 FM. Na kwa wasikilizaji wa Burji, Rendile na Borana waliomo Marsabit na maeneo jirani, KBC Eastern Service inapatikana kwa mita bendi 98.7 FM.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Okay, so before we took a break, the issue of public participation has taken a center stage, completely enshrined in our constitution. Kenyans really embraced it in the last 2 weeks during the submissions of memoranda, the public participation in the formation of this finance bill. So my question is, before we took a break, gentlemen, have we become of age? Are we starting to embrace? Have we started to understand our role as citizens? Let me call ourselves as the fourth arm of government. I don't know in which order, because we have got executive, legislature, and the judiciary. I don't know where this side, where we belong as common Mwananchi. In whichever order, let me call it now the fourth arm of government at the end of the day. Because power belongs to the people.
You see, and you've captured it very, very well. If you want to see, and in your order of arrangement, then I would advise that you be guided by the Constitution. The Constitution, in a first preamble, give that preeminence. You know, there are so many 16 chapters in the Constitution. But Article 1, Chapter 1, mentions the people. All sovereign power is invested in the people of Kenya and shall be exercised directly and indirectly. But directly, Kenyans can exercise power through protest and and petitions like the ones that had been put forward to the committee on finance committee that was hearing.
Exactly.
Directly.
Yes.
Kenyans going there directly to face the leaders, or indirectly through the elected members of parliament. Victor, like we were talking about before we came back to it, I say that You know, the power that we have as citizens of Republic is that we haven't mastered, we haven't give a lot of importance to the power that we have. Why do I say so? I would draw your attention back just in our neighbors. You saw what happened in Tunisia. By just a pinch of, feeling of economic pinch and a young man burning himself in paraffin, in frustration of, missing jobs because of unemployment, sets the whole country to eject a whole regime out of power.
And because there's that power in the hands of one monarch, right?
Yes. We are witnessing issues in Senegal when, the government meddled in opposition. And you've seen that just by the arrest of opposition leader Osman Sonko has sent citizens to go back to the prison to release the opposition leader themselves.
Yes.
1 million. And they march and say, you kill 1 million. The people's power. And I'm not saying this to incite. I am just saying this that we haven't mastered the power that we have. When each and every August, the second week of August, we wake up and line ourselves to go vote and put that check in trust for the people that we elect, hoping that some of the issues and the pain we feel, they are able to articulate it the way we could. That is the essence of indirect representation.
You have your faith, you have your hopes and aspiration.
I am taking it into you.
Exactly.
I am cashing it into you.
Right.
That the same way I would sit here to articulate my problems is the same way you would go to the National Assembly and the Senate or wherever you will be nominated to articulate it the way I'm articulating. That is the power that we are giving to you. So when you fail, when you boycott, and when you act into contradiction of that power, then that is now you breach the trust that the citizens have given you. And let me bring you back to what you've asked, because this is where we give a priority what importance it is. The citizens of Kenya lined up to elect the government of the day. And the government, I'm not only calling for the executive. You've mentioned the 3 arms of government that we have. People forget the 3 arms of government we have, including the 4th. In fact, the 5th one, you are talking about the people's power. The 4th one and the 5th one is in the county governments. That we always forget. Whatever we mention about government, we always just think that is the national government.
Yes.
We have 47 devolved units fully facilitated and acting governments of the day, including where you expedite your issues and legislate in the 47 county assemblies. Where you have your people and your members of county assembly that you can wake up in the morning and knock their doors and say, guys, we feel frustrated because a bridge here has fallen and this is happening there, somebody has been killed here, and go and articulate the same issue the way I'm articulating. So the failure, I was just bringing this to tell you the failure. Kenyans ought to have mastered, and by now, and I'm happy when you reported that over 1,000 and tens of petitions and memoranda had been signed. The foolish thing the government of the day can do is to assume that those citizens, acted out of ignorance and went ahead and put their petitions and their memorandums and ignore. I will tell you, that would be one of the foolish actions that the government of the day can do. And then you asked what next as I conclude. We are hoping that with the experts, with the views of Kenyans, both in social media, and I'm hoping that the National Social Intelligence Unit also reads in the court of public opinion, there are opinions of Kenyans. Kenyans have read so much and have said, look here, this government of the day, we feel overtaxed. We feel overburdened. We are recovering from post-COVID. We are recovering from global economic recession. And we feel the way you overtax and more taxes is going to load up on us. That our pockets are going to run dry. That is what the Kenyan citizens are saying to this government. And to opposition, Kenya's government has said that you are a clueless opposition who've not mastered the art of articulating the issues of Kenyans.
Where's the alternative?
You understand?
Exactly.
So this is where Kenyans are now faced. And by the way, I'm saying that if you see Kenyans going to the street, it will not because the opposition have called it to go to the street. It will be because of Kenyans have felt that there needs to be a mobilization, an alternative mobilization. And that's why I said, lo and behold, we are having, unfortunately, that is the oppositions that are rallying people to go to the street. Why could civil society do that? Why would religious institutions do that? Why would youth movements do that? So it is our unfortunate that us being rallied to go to the streets and to petition, which is in the constitution, is being done by an opposition that has got interest in the political interest in this country.
Unfortunately, because at the end of the day, look at it, Gerald. I mean, Kenyans should now be happy. According to Daniel, we've not actually gotten to that point where Kenyans, we feel the need of having our voice heard. But don't you think that because of the memoranda which was presented during that committee sitting, in fact, the committee had to extend by, I think, 2 or 3 days, because the overwhelming kind of memoranda they were receiving from different entities, organizations, civil societies, etc., was just overwhelming. And now they have just completed their report and coming back to Parliament this week. But what do you read the mind of the common mwananchi? Have they correctly put themselves in that space where at this particular point they say we are in 2023. The constitution is very clear, as they correctly say, the constitution is very clear. But are we as a nation, the people of this country, being in our rightful place as per the constitution?
Thank you for that interesting question. Abraham Lincoln defined democracy as the rule of the people, by the people and for the people. Now the question is Kenya a democratic state? If you ask that question, I remember Kofi Annan once said that a healthy democratic society must be built on 3 pillars. Number 1, peace and development. Number 2, sustainable peace and security. Number 2, sustainable development. And number 3, rule of law and respect for human rights. All these 3 pillars, they don't have a foundation in Kenya. They're very shaky. Now, is Kenya a mature democracy? This is a very important question, because what are the dimensions of democracy? How are we understanding, we as a nation, how are we understanding democracy? What is the role of the common mwananchi in a democracy? Because as I raised the issue earlier, we are a closed political system. We are not an open political system. So we are still trying to grapple with the challenges of democracy, trying to embrace democratic ideals, and the Freedom House categorized us as a partial democratic state. We are still in transition. And coming back to your question, are the views of the common mwananchi fully expressed, and does the common mwananchi in Kenya understand his full responsibility as a citizen and his entitlement as enshrined especially in Article 1 of the Kenyan Constitution, sovereignty of the people? Unfortunately, I'll say no.
But I have to give it to Kenyans. Let me just give it to Kenyans, because if you hear the Finance Committee chair saying that they've made some recommendations for the amendments to be made in the bill, then it means that Kenya's voice has been heard.
Who are these Kenya? I don't know. What is your definition of this?
We had got different entities going for the public participation. That is a voice heard already.
I'm not fully convinced. I'm not absolutely convinced.
Okay.
But you see, that's what I said, and I agree with Jelda to some extent. I say that, you see, there is a public participation, then there is a meaningful public participation that you can track, you can trace, and be accountable for. This, what we saw, is fiscal money, public participation that was going on, views, channeled here and there for consideration. But you see, again, our laws are very silent on how would we trace the feedback from public participation. Okay? Because what we have been doing in the counties, including the county assembly, every counties have got public participation. But it's done for tokenism. It is done in a sense that when you present your petition, how do you get the feedback that you had?
Absolutely.
It is in the mercy of those that are receiving memorandum. You will never know, but what you do is to make a public appearance, so they would stamp authority that we did a public participation, and Victor and colleagues presented a memorandum, and you are not able to trace. That is the situation we are in, and that is the quagmire we're in with the committee in Naivasha. And I will tell you what probably might happen. There is a sense in which they will discuss some of the amendments, of course, because citizens have channeled their frustrations about them. On the VAT, I foresee a situation where they would reduce the tax from 16 maybe to 8 or something. They would do that. Because, like I told you, it would be very foolish for them to proceed when Kenyans have given an opinion that is otherwise. I see a situation that have hinted towards reducing the taxes that are levied on, digital monetization tax. Because artists paraded in State House and channeled their frustrations. You understand? There could be consideration on that. On housing levy fund, of course, I don't see a situation where they would change it, but I see a situation where they would clarify what is, what is the management of these funds, because that is where Kenyans have got different opinions. And they would open a channel where they would talk to, the employers, because there is also a frustration with the employers. And the situation where employees or employers are now like cited, they're incited one against one another, probably could be. Because not so many employers would want to ask, why am I releasing 3%, of your taxes? If at all also your payee is also already being taxed. So I think those are situations where there would be consideration. And hence what I'm talking about is, would consideration still be appealing to Kenyans? That is the question. That is the question. Would we have a win-win situation where Kenyans would understand, okay, the country must be run with levying of taxes, and it's a deal.
Okay. That's a good question, because even as you speak, we still don't know which clauses are going to be amended. So it's still a top secret until it's tabled before.
I just made my prediction. I'm willing to come back on Monday here, and you'd see probably those are the considerations.
What will happen?
Yes, yeah.
But Gerard, when you look at the entire framework, the executive is under pressure. I mean, the budget has to be read. Parliament has a key role. The common Mwananchi has done its part, and now it goes back to Parliament. So we are in a situation where we have got white and black. The common Mwananchi is waiting for his member of Parliament or for her member of Parliament say that, this bill is going to affect me as a common Mwananchi. But 2027 is coming. And Kenyans never forget so easily. One thing dents the entire system, but some of them do forget. Number two, the executive must get their budget read. So between a rock and a hard place, what is going to happen in this situation? Do you think the government, what is now a place of win-win, as Daniel would put it, that the government, the executive has gotten his way, Parliament has also gotten its way, and the common Mwananchi is also going to be fed on some fair ground?
I think the presentations which were made for changes in that finance bill, I don't know to the extent how many clauses have been changed. I'm not sure. Maybe if it's made public, then we can understand. So that will also define the course. Number two, based on this contrast, whether on the parliamentarians, whether to vote on the bill or rather to consider the common Mwananchi or to follow the executive orders, quote unquote, from the president and his administration. I think that's, as I've made it clear, they will, the parliamentarians, especially the UDA parliamentarians, they will unanimously vote for that bill to pass. I believe so, because number one, you remember, if you look at the nature of our political parties, these political parties, they're those people who command how voting is done. So it's not about whether you as an honorable, as an MP, you're going to decide whether what your members told you. It's about you're going to vote on what the party has told you to vote. So it's something that's also very difficult for both the MPs and also difficult on the side of Kenyans, on what to expect.
But that has happened before.
Exactly.
We had different budgets.
Exactly. And leave alone even the budget. I was just saying, the question we are talking about public participation. If we were having a functional democracy in this country where citizens have realized their power, then it could be ideal that members of parliament would have voted in favor of what the citizens want. But that is not the same. Why? Because, Victor, there are citizens of this republic in certain areas in this country that have voted their leaders who swindled public money in corruption cases. Okay? In fact, when they were asked why they were going to do that, they said, this is our thief. You understand? You know these cases. Okay? We're having public servants who had got question records are now holding positions. And this is why I'm saying if we were as a country that are cognizant of the decisions that we make in the ballot that ultimately give us leaders, then we wouldn't have voted these leaders. But bringing back to what you're asking, would voting yes for this bill make a difference in your constituency? No. No.
Nationally, yes.
Not with the current electorals that we have.
Yes. Nationally, yes.
Nationally, yes. But let me tell you, there are sections in these constituencies where people would vote yes and would not make a difference. Because the political ethnic mobilizations and politicization of how we do our things, people would forget that you voted for this no or yes. Even as much as Azimio would want to say, these members of parliament who voted for yes are the enemies of people. But citizens would forget that. In fact, they would become the best members of parliament. So one of the things I'm saying that we would not, a state of citizenry on our mind are still not yet matured and think that, if my member of parliament voted yes, then coming elections I would not elect that member of parliament because on such a day, he voted for yes for this bill. We haven't yet matured to that level. If we would have, then these members of parliament would have shut down this bill and returned it back with amendments. But that's not the case. That is not the case.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, budget has to be read.
It has to be.
But to whose advantage? Now this is a situation, the opposition have been calling for a complete flop to the bill, but it can't, in its entirety, it cannot happen. Because either way, even if the opposition was in government, to take charge at this particular point, a budget had to be read. So that was given. It has to happen either way. But we are in a situation where the opposition is now saying, this thing has to flop. The opposition has whipped their members. The government also, President William Ruto also whipped members of Kenya Kwanza, which is okay. You have to put your house in order. But a situation where we have got opposition calling for a complete flop of this bill, with numerical strength in the House, will they achieve it? I don't know. Gerald?
I'm not sure about that.
Do you think the president is comfortable wherever he is?
I think President Ruto is comfortable. As I've said, President Ruto is a very astute politician. That guy is very strategic. So to think about that, President Ruto will lose sleep because of Raila Odinga, I think it's not possible. Yeah, he already knows how to curb Raila Odinga. So even if Raila Odinga, no matter what he does, he's already 10 miles ahead of Raila Odinga.
Okay, generally, the opposition in the 13th Parliament.
In the Parliament, I think, the UDA have the majority. So if they unanimously agree to vote, then some of the, I feel like if the UDA, they get united, some of the ODM MPs, they might abstain.
We've had, even a couple of few days, we've had even some members of Parliament from Kenya Kwanza saying that, I'm not going to do this. Was it just public?
There are few. There are few.
Just a few.
Yeah, there are few of them.
Don't you think that's enough to spoil the froth?
What I have seen and what has shocked me is, I saw a proposed list, I don't know whether it was factual or not, for so far the analysis that have been done, those who can pass will vote yes, those who will vote no, and those who will abstain. And you see the list of abstinence is long. There are around 46 or something. That's a significant number of members of parliament. And you see they are from both sides. Surprisingly, they are from both sides. So this is what I keep mentioning. And you see, and let me correct you, Gerald. Yes, the president of the Republic of Kenya might not lose some sleep because of the opposition. But I think he loses sleep because of where the country is headed to. He should be as a leader. Politically, yes. Maybe because, like you said, and as a political leader, probably is 10 miles ahead of maybe some miles ahead. But I think for him, he might be worried about the stake of passing out that bill, whether he passes it or not. I think this is one thing that a head of state would reason out, and what would be the effects in the aftermath of voting yes or voting no. Because this is where you should be surveying on the aftermath and begin to prepare the outcome. But as we foresee, I see a situation where there are some members of parliament, and of course, the accusations of people crossing the floor. Others who are in Kenya Kwanza abstaining or saying they will vote against the finance bill. Others in the opposition are saying they would vote yes, or abstaining, or still thinking of how to vote. So it is not guaranteed. But probably I see with the bravado, and the president already said that he want to see which member of parliament would want to vote against this bill. That definitely whips. It's a definitely direction to Kenya Kwanza, members of parliament, probably not to go against the president's desire.
Gentlemen, I'll give you 1 minute each for us to get the closing remarks, because we're running out of time. Let me start with you, Gerald. House resumes tomorrow. They have their sitting tomorrow in the afternoon. What should you expect this coming week? In 1 minute, if you can, please.
Yeah, Archbishop Desmond Tutu once said that if an elephant had his foot on the tail of a rat and you're neutral, the rat won't appreciate your neutrality. So this issue is an issue that affects all of us, and I will just give my opinion as the common man who will also give almost the similar opinion. I think that on the contrary, I think MPs might disappoint Kenyans based on what they will do. But personally, I'm hoping, as many Kenyans are hoping, that they will vote to represent the voices of those people who elected them into power. And they should also look at the future of this country. Yeah, they should put that into perspective. Thank you.
All right. Very nice.
Well, it is my hope that the bill might be reconsidered further and further. Kenyans should wait and see the final, document that has been reviewed by the committee sitting in Naivasha. But Kenyans, I think, from what we can see and going by the political stage, I see this bill being passed because, given that the government has got a majority on their side, and their interest is to pass this bill. So I think Kenyans, like I said, would prepare for the aftermath of the passage of this bill. One is to begin to still renegotiate with the government and still petition the government. There are avenues of still doing that. There are avenues of petitioning the government if they feel their taxes, they're being overtaxed unfairly. There are avenues. But as I conclude, Victor, allow me to also mention an issue that is pertinent to myself and to the country. There is a seasoned issue that is coming with banning of markets in this country. Okay?
Yeah.
That we should really touch on as this platform. Kikomba has been being banned each and every time. Toy market is being banned each and every time. So I really want to ask the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, because even as we are struggling with taxes and the mamambogas and the people who are struggling to sustain the economy and keep the small income and going, we have seen a situation where arsonists are beginning to ban properties of Kenyans and ban properties of local people who are trying to make a living. I think it's important that fires in Gikomba or in Toy Market or anywhere now should be an issue that should be concluded. And let us stop this issue and let us know who are these arsonists who are organizing for Kenyans' property to be burned down each and every time.
When you had some of the traders saying that they have lost, the business in running into millions of shillings. There's a lady who said that she owns 3 stalls there and the total cost goes to around $1 million or 1 shilling. Recovering such kind
it's unfortunate.
Of investment is a difficult thing to stand. All right. Thank you so much for being a part of this show. Daniel Orogo, political analyst, and for the first time joining me on set is Gerald Minishi, who is a political analyst. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Somebody said that why were we all in black? There was a memo. It's not a Black Monday, just a coincidence. Telepathy at work. Okay, you as a viewer, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Let's take a break. GMK continues with Ram Aguko. Good morning.
Welcome to East Africa. This is Safari Rally Kenya.
The WRC Safari Rally is set for June 22nd to June 25th in Naivasha. This year's event, the 7th leg of the WRC calendar, consisting of 19 stages, will see drivers, among them defending champion and series leader Khalid Vampera, battle in what's considered as the toughest rally in the world. KBC Channel 1 will bring the action to your living room, where a total of only 5 stages will be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1 and the Shakedown exclusive on our Facebook page. Catch the WRC Safari Rally on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Wajiko, hii kiherehere unaleta hapa ya kufanya kazi ya wengine ndio fanye nini?
Ala, mbona uchui?
Aki mama, unanibeba kasichui aje. Basi ni sawa basi, geuka basi ngopatie surprise.
Sasa ine gani?
Sasa uko busy katika chatting, tuna chat na nani?
Mimi anakaa brother yake. Anawitagua na milioni moja kwa bahali utumi.
Mmeamua kuniharibia siku kabisa.
Mpaka kiti bosi yangu.
Anataka kukalia wewe.
Unafungua kama kabati.
Tendo hiyo. Simama kama gamia, kwa nini beba vitu hapa? Akikusumbua sana. Mbate mama subscriber, it's not available at the moment. Try again later.
Every Monday evening, we take you back where the action happened live. We'll let you know what you missed, even if you were present.
And our goal is to continue supporting our own.
From the latest celebrity buzz,
fashion,
music,
and all manner of youth talents,
the Grapevine cameras rove all week to bring you the latest in the enormous entertainment scene.
Watch Grapevine every Monday at 10 p.m. and the rerun on Tuesday at 2 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1, baby.
Engage us on Facebook and Twitter, #Grapevine on KBC. Let us know what is happening in your area code, because you know what they say, if you did not see it on Grapevine,
then it most probably never happened. Bah!
Ain't nobody gotta tell you what you gotta do.
So much for sticking with us. This is on transformative leadership. My name is Ram Maguko. If you've just joined us, you're in time for this particular conversation, and I know it's going to be an interesting one because we are joined by our very own Dr. Joseph Murimi. He is the founder of Save Alive. Daktari, karibu sana.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. And for those of you who are familiar with our programming, you know one particular show that airs on KBC right here, KBC Channel 1. It was on air yesterday, every Sunday, 10 p.m.
Save Alive.
Save Alive.
Yes.
Daktari, that show, I watched last night's show and it touched my heart.
Thank you.
First things first, for somebody who's meeting you today for the first time, tell us a bit about what you do and about Save Alive.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, my name is Dr. Joseph Murimi, and I'm a founder of Save Alive organization. And what we do at Save Alive is save lives.
You save lives.
We transform lives. You're talking about transformational leader. And for me, I say I'm a servant leader because my work is to serve others. And basically, as you know, as a servant leader, what we do, our interest is to transform someone's life. And basically, that was what we do as a Save Alive. And that's what I do as Joseph Murimi.
You mentioned transformative leadership, and you also mentioned that you are a servant leadership.
Yes. Hello.
I think so. They didn't get mine, eh?
All right, we apologize for that technical glitch. That is the beauty of live shows. Anything goes, Daktari. That's the beauty of live shows. Anything goes. If you amen. And of course, as I mentioned earlier on, we had some technical glitch. That is Dr. Joseph Murimi, the founder of Save a Life. He was mentioning what it is all about. Daktari, just say it just one more time, and for the benefit of somebody who's meeting you for the first time today. I said earlier, we have Save a Life, and it is actually changing people in the country.
Yes, my name is... I'm a founder of Save a Life organization, and what we do at Save a Life, we transform people's lives. We save lives. And I said I'm a servant leader, and my key business is to make sure that I have changed someone's life. That's my key business, and that is what we do as Save a Life. Basically, we run 3 programs. One is whereby we fundraise for the sick who are not able to pay their medical bills. We go all over Kenya, and we say humanity doesn't focus on tribe, race, or religion. We go all over Kenya doing this work. Again, I realized that give a man a fish and teach them how to fish. So I started a center where we train young people in photography, videography, and computer literacy. Because we have some people who are not able to go to the university to pay that fee. So that's what we do. Then again, we have another program whereby we also focus on people who are on the streets with the aim of transforming them. And so far, we have helped so many who are now responsible citizens in our community. So basically, that's what Save a Life.
All right, and I'm looking at you mentioning one keyword, servant leadership.
Servant leadership.
You mentioned servant leadership, and we are talking about transformative leadership. And I'm trying to look at these two definitive words here. Is there a difference between a servant leader and a transformative leader?
Yes, that's a good question. For me, I think, again, I'm a transformational leader because a transformational leader is someone who has, the focus or the interest of people's lives.
Okay.
Again, with the aim of changing their lives. Not only for a short term, but a long term. And basically, that's what we do as a Save a Life. Because our focus is to make sure that we, for example, we change a community. We train a young person who doesn't have skills. We equip them with photography and computer literacy skills so that he can better his life.
And that is you transforming them.
Transforming them.
And where does servanthood come in now?
Thank you. And I think I'll give a good example of Abraham Lincoln, yeah? And a servant leader is someone who is there to serve others, whereby you don't focus on serving yourself. It's not a personal interest. You don't think of how I'll get that opportunity to better myself, yeah? But with the interest of making sure that you have transformed that person, you have transformed that community.
Correct.
Your interest is to serve. Talk about Jesus Christ. He was a servant leader. His interest was to serve us. And today that's why we again benefit, and that's why we are transformed from his life. So I think a good example is Jesus Christ, because he was a servant leader, and his interest was not his personal gain, but about others.
The gain of others, not about self.
Exactly.
Others.
Exactly.
But then I'm looking at you, Dr. Joseph. You've managed to get into a very interesting field. What is it that drove you to get into transformative leadership and in particular Save a Life program?
I think as a Christian I'll say it's a calling, but again as a scholar I'll say I think how how my life has been designed. Since I was born in a very humble background. I went to school. Then when I got to class 8, my mother, who was a single mom, she didn't have money to take me to high school. You can imagine I went to my grandmother, who is my role model, and she gave me 100 bob. She told me, my son, may God give you grace to go to school.
100 shillings.
1,000 shillings.
1,000 shillings. Right.
Yes, and I remember I took that 100 shilling, and that is what took me to school for till now, because I went to and started small businesses. Then I didn't go to high school, as many does. I went to a center, and I used to go do hustles, do some jengo, and do some, small jobs. And through doing that, I was able to save, buy books, take some time, read, and after 2 years, I was able to register for that KCSE. And I was that focused. So I think after going through that life, then I met a Korean guy called Hyoyoung, and he took me in as a trainer. He mentored me. He gave me the training as a journalist, as a camera person. Okay? So I met a Korean who gave me an opportunity to study, mentored me. I became a journalist through the training. Then I realized, okay, so someone else can help someone to become someone who can maybe transform the community.
And then you said that I will also do the same.
Perfect. That's how I started. And again, when I was I was in media, I went to do a story in Korokocho. I found this young girl, and this girl did some money to do the surgery. Her hand was rotting. I did the story, and I got enough money to take the girl to the hospital. Then I realized, okay, I can use my lens, I can use my skills to save her life. Then I realized, okay, this is where I belong. I did the next story at Korokocho. The lady who needed some money to go to hospital to do a cardiac surgery. I got the money, 500,000, 500,000. I took the lady to the hospital, and I realized, okay, this is my area, this is my calling. And when God gives you that, can I say calling or direction, He'll give you wisdom and grace to pursue it. Until today, we are still saving lives. Now we have saved over 5,000. And we are still
5,000.
And we are still moving.
And I love what you're doing, because we are looking at Save a Life, a project that goes to the people.
Yes, exactly.
You pick out people's problems, people's issues, and then you try and solve them. But then I'm looking at some of those instances and scenarios that you've met along the way. You've mentioned over 5,000 people that you've met here. Just give me a glimpse of what exactly is going on the ground that you are highlighting this morning.
For example, I'll give you a recent case that we have, and because we get stories through media, because we use a lot of media, we use media to fundraise, and people who I can say who make this happen are the people who send us 100 bob, 50 shilling, 200, 10 shilling, and all that.
Those are the supporters. The
exactly. Because it's not easy. Like every week we have a patient, and some the surgery costs over 3 million. Some 800, 500. So they're expensive surgeries. And every week we have a patient. You can imagine. But I'm grateful because every week we are able to pursue that. And Kenyans, people of goodwill, they normally work with us. They have never given up. And since we started, that's why I'm saying when God gives you a grace, He'll give you also wisdom to continue pursuing. I can assure you that every day we're expanding. We are doing even more. And I'll give an example of what we are doing. A real case study. I went to Turkana, and this family, they had a young boy. And there's one pastor who saw a certain lady who was about to kill her son because he had a big growth, and they could not afford even to pay the money for investigation. Okay, so they sent me the picture. Then I went I met this young boy. He's called Percy. Then without even having the money, I took the boy to Nairobi. Then I took the boy to Gertrude's hospital. Then through God's grace, although the surgery was very expensive, we were able to do the surgery. I took the boy home after a month when he's completely healed. And this is what we are doing to so many people. I remember, and it's so touching because the man could not afford even to, even we have a language barrier, but what he did, he went, he looked for a goat, he brought the goat to me as a present, as a sign to say thank you. And this is what we are doing as a Save a Life. We don't charge any coin. We go all over Kenya. You'll see us in Malindi, Lamu, Turkana, Samburu. Like now currently we have a case in Samburu that we are pursuing, and we're hoping that we'll help this girl from Samburu who is ailing, has a growth on her face, and this girl, she cannot even again afford to raise money for investigation.
But I'm looking at the process that you go through. How do you manage to pick out all these different Kenyans from different parts of the country and reach out to them?
Thank you. That's a good question. Basically, we have a panel because we get so many cases all over Kenya. We have a panel that selects stories, and we work with great people, doctors. Like we have one called Dr. Meshakunguti. He's a maxi-official doctor working with the Nairobi Hospital. And what we do when we get such stories, we normally share with these doctors. We have another one called, who is the head of Orthopedic Kenya, called Dr. Kilonzo. And when we get such cases of maybe orthopedic, we share with Dr. Kilonzo. When we get any case with maybe a maxi-official case, we share with Dr. Meshakunguti. Then they're able to tell us, okay, this one we can do the surgery. Okay, because most of our cases are surgery based. Then once we share with the doctors, then our team are able to call back and say, okay, this date will be coming to highlight your case. Okay, because I said again, what we do, we work with Kenyans who support with 100, 200 and all that. So we use social media, and I'm grateful today because KBC has been our main partner. Again, we have a program on Sunday. Every Sunday at 10 p.m. Repeat is today around 2:30, and they have been our main partners. So what we do when we select story is a panel that goes through the stories, we're able to highlight, to pick one per week. Then we feature that case, look for money, take them to the hospital. Then again, our strength is once we highlight that case, then again we normally come back and show Kenyans, this is what your 10 shilling did. This is what your 20 shilling did. This is what your 100 bob shilling did. So as I said, I'm a servant leader. And my interest and my passion is to see that young boy from Turkana is now okay and he's back to school.
But then I'm looking at the costs that you
implications.
The implications.
Yes.
You have to travel.
Yes.
All the way.
Yes.
For example, you need to go to Samburu.
Yes.
You need to go to Turkana.
Yes.
And all these places. How do you manage to balance here? Because you have the costs, the medical costs, together with other sources, other funding that also need to be.
I love that question, and sometimes I sit down and reflect, and I'm grateful, because when, as I said when I started, when God gives you that calling or that purpose, God will provide.
He provides.
You can imagine, like currently. How it is in Kenya, but I can assure you this is the time that we have done the highest surgeries you can imagine. So God will give you the way. God will show you the way. And I can show, like I gave you an example when I went to Turkana and I picked this young boy. Another case is I went to a place called Burn Forest. I met this young man, and this man, he was, he had done 7 surgeries. Then the kilos were coming back. Okay? Because he sold the cows, he went to did the surgery, the kilos came back.
And these were surgeries that
he was doing the surgeries now at home before I met him. Then he sold a piece of land, the kilos came back. Okay, then now the family decided, because now Mzee is called Mzee Juma. He's amazing. He's a friend of mine nowadays. And the family saw that now this Mzee will finish everything at home. Then they had to chase him away. Then I met him somewhere, and he was smelling and all that. Then I did the story. I brought the man to Nairobi Hospital. I didn't have money, but the CEO of Nairobi Hospital and the director of the director in charge, they took the case as their own. Were able to pay for investigation and all that to facilitate, but the Nairobi Hospital took the case. That's why I'm saying that if God normally does something.
Have you ever been in a position where you had to get into your own pocket?
Not once. Is part of when you're doing such a work. Not once, not twice. Like, I can give an example of how I normally pick some kids, maybe from Samburu of Turkana. I bring them at my place, and my wife has been part of this initiative. I stay with them for a month, not once, because what happens is, when you want people to rally behind you as a leader, you don't just pursue them by telling them, show them, be an example. So what I do it so that they can able to see, yes, it is possible. Not once, not twice, even today we do that.
And it's important to note here, even as we talk about this, that we are talking about real life situations.
Yes.
Real life stories.
Yes.
Airing every Sunday at 10 p.m. right on KBC Channel 1.
Yes.
And I repeat, is there every
Monday at 2:30.
2:30 p.m.
Yes.
So be sure to tune in to KBC today at 2:30 p.m. so that you can be able to get even a glimpse of what we are talking about when we talk about transformative leadership in this particular program.
Yes.
Now, Dr. Murimi, I'm looking at the aspect from the patient, because yes, it is still vital. The reception you get once you get to the ground and you land, for example, in you are recently at is it Western Kenya?
Western Kenya. I think I was in. I went to Bungoma. I went to Vihiga. I went to Kakamega.
Yeah,
doing the same work.
Doing the same work.
Yes.
So how do people receive you when once you arrive? For some they have been torn apart. Some are feeling tired of life. Some are ashamed of how their situation is. How is the reception?
That's a good question. I went to I think in Bungoma. You have a lady that we took last year. She's called Belinda. And Belinda, she had a big growth on her back, yeah? And they didn't have the money to go to hospital. Then I brought her to Nairobi.
Yeah.
Then I took her to Dr. Kilonzo. We did the surgery. So last week I went to see her. And you know what? The reception, they normally, if you watch some of our videos, the community normally gathers. And that is what gives us even that momentum and motivation to continue doing.
It gives you more life.
Exactly. When you see the community is happy, the family is happy. And let me tell you one thing. You know what happens is, when you find someone who is sick, for example, Belinda who was sick, the mother was sick, the family was sick. You understand? Because even the mother, she's not able to go and look for money to look for this family, yeah? So you find that if we help that one patient, we help the entire family. Then again, you find that community is happy. And that is what gives me joy as a person. When I say someone who was hopeless, but now she has hope and she's happy. And I think as a person, and that is what gives me motivation to continue serving and doing this, because it's not easy, by the way.
Yeah.
When you go and see such a case, of course it's disturbing. Again, the most even traumatizing part is when you go, you find, for example, Belinda. Give me an example of Belinda. You highlight her story, come back to Nairobi, then after 2 days she's calling you, because when she saw you, she got that hope. Then she's calling you, she's asking, when is the surgery? When we pick a case, we normally look for the doctors, look for the hospital, and for the money. So when we highlight a story, after a day or two, they are calling, asking, when is the surgery?
Yeah.
Okay? So it's up to me and the team to make sure that we have gotten the way for her surgery.
Because they are expectant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yet, do you go there knowing very well the full budget of this particular surgery?
What we do, most of our surgery are complex, they're expensive. So as I said, we have a panel of doctors that we work with, so they're able to approximate. But again, I'll give an example of a boy called from Utawala. This boy, we did the story, then I took her to the hospital. Then the same doctor called Dr. Kilonzo is the one who did the surgery. Then again, sometimes because the surgery took 9 hours, he had a big growth in his head, yeah? Then again, he went to the ICU for like a day or two. You find the budget, which was around 400, to shoot up to 600. So it happens not once. Even the later case that we had, the one that we did with the surgery last week, the boy went to the ICU, I think for a day or two. You find that the budget, the bill that we were given shoots.
So the approximate is different from the actual.
Up to us save a life again to go back and look for money. But I want to assure you that today, as I stand here, we don't have any patient who is locked, who is not able to go home because of finances. Because what? Because God is providing. Kenyans who are watching are the people who have been driving this organization. Kenyans who gives as small as 10 bob, 20, 100, 1,000, the people who have been doing this work. And I'm grateful today.
And I want us to take a short break. Yes. I'm interested in looking at even further the things that are out there that some of us aren't aware of. You know, some of these things that we just see them, but we don't really feel how important they are until it actually reaches home.
True.
You never know the value of life or the value of good health. And I'm looking at you as an individual.
That's true.
Those things that you've managed to go there, and once you see them, is a shocker.
It's a shocker. It's a shocker.
Let's take a break, and then we'll be back. You will tell me about how some of these experiences that you've had while moving or traversing through the country have been for you. Because I'm interested in even learning the personal notes you've managed to get. All right? This is Good Morning Kenya. We'll be back in a bit.
지난번에 말했잖아. 똑바로 먹었냐? 어?
경찰에 신고해. 자, 그냥 가서 모른다고 하잖아.
학교도 가시고 청와대도 가시고 왜 안 되면 교황님한테 가서 이러세요. 일로.
Wajiku. Hii kiherehere unaleta hapa ya kufanya kazi ya wengine ndio fanye nini?
Ala, bwana uchui?
Aki mama, unanibeba kasichui ache. Basi ni sawa basi, geuka basi ngopatie surprise.
Sasa ine gani?
Sasa uko busy katika chatting, tunachat na nani?
Mimi anakaa brother yake. Anawitagua na milioni moja kwa bahali utumi.
Mmeamua kuniharibia siku kabisa.
Mpaka kiti bosi yangu.
Anataka kukalia wewe.
Unafungua kama kabati.
Tendo hiyo.
Simama kama gamia, kwa nini beba vitu hapa?
Akikuchumbua sana. Mbate mama subscriber, it's not available at the moment. Try again later.
Sioni kama anaweza kuhimili siri kubwa namna hii.
Sasa tufanyeje? Nalishakuwa.
Hamtaniharibia. Not in one night. I will not let you. Toka urudi hata sijui kwa nini umekasirika. Hutaki kuniongelesha, unakaa hauna furaha nini?
Whatever it is, haikuhusu.
Pili. Kwanza mimi nataka uachane na haya mambo ya kunipigia simu.
All right, welcome back. One thing that I've noted while we were conversing this morning is that each one of us has something to do. What are you doing to change the life of your neighbor? What are you doing to change the life of a fellow Kenyan? Well, this morning is all about transformative leadership. And I am with Dr. Joseph Murimi here, the founder of Save a Life. Daktari.
Yes.
Before we took that break, we were talking about some of those receptions that you've been receiving, you know, those feedback you've been getting from the ground. You go there, somebody calls you 2 days later after you've aired their story on KBC. And I'm looking at the life lessons that you've managed to pick out from this. Has there been that instance where, of course I know there has been, but that one that you've managed to pick out at some point, one day at a time, when you got there, you went there, and you felt like, wow, this one is a lesson that I will live to remember?
Thank you, thank you. Back to basics, yeah?
Basics.
Then after going to school, getting an opportunity to go to school, then again after getting a job, a good job, I realized that life is not about, you know, becoming wealthy, buying things, you know, and feeding your family and all that. But life is about, you know, creating those moments, creating, you know, can I say, experiences, and serving the community. And what gives me joy is when I visit such a family. And like last month, we had a big celebration in Nyamira. There's a lady called Jane Mora. Jane Mora was sick for, I think she was 76 when we met her, and she had a big growth on her back. Then the family were told that because of finances, we cannot, this is impossible. In fact, when I met the lady, the family told me, no, we were told that this is not possible. I took that lady to brought her to Nairobi. Again, I took her to the same doctor, Dr. Kilonzo. And after taking this lady back to her place after the surgery, last month we had a big celebration, and the entire family and the community were happy. We were celebrating and all that. And this is what gives us joy. Seeing, you know, giving that hope. You know, people who are happy. The lady who had no, you know, hope in life, but now she's happy. She's back to her normal, you know, farming and all that. We get that, you know, even zeal and motivation to continue doing this. And I realized that as a person, because again, sometimes we are in our cocoon. We are so enclosed that we think that life is about, you know, creating wealth, working hard for you and your family,
and sometimes you take things for granted.
For granted. And you don't realize what you can do with that extra coin that you can sacrifice and help someone. And by doing this, even on our program, we don't again talk about only the few people that we are helping. We talk about people who that you live with them. Yeah, because I said I'm a Christian, and Jesus Christ talk about servant leaders. He talk about helping your neighbor.
Yes.
Then the Bible says that if you see your neighbor who is struggling, but you cannot help them, then you can say that you love God. Okay? So that's why I tell people that we cannot live like an island. If God has blessed you with resources, it's not because he loves you only, or maybe it's because the resources are only for you and your family, but also to be a blessing to others. If you have a child who is suffering, maybe you can do something. You can maybe buy them shoes or books or something. Do that. If you see a street kid that you can transform, you can help, why not? If God has given you brains, skills, and resources, is so that you can be a blessing to someone else there. And that's why I keep on saying that there's nothing good than helping someone, changing someone's life. And for me, I do this work because of three things. One, I know that service to humanity is service to God. As I do this, I'm serving God. Two, for those who believe in science, again, it is therapeutic. When you help someone, for example, who was sick, then after the surgery you see the same person, you're happy, you feel good. It is therapeutic. And you keep to enjoy, you feel good, and you want to do that more. Again, the third thing, that's the reason why I do that, is because when I see someone who is suffering, if I help that person, I help that person to better his life, then again, I also help his family. And it is magical when you do this. It's always amazing.
And I love what you say, because you're also incorporating the spiritual aspect of this particular conversation here. Yes. Trying to give out to the needy. And you've given some references to even the Bible, Jesus Christ talking about helping the needy, when there's even a verse in the Bible that says that when I was hungry, you did not feed me. Yes. When I was naked, you did not clothe me. Because you need to help the needy. And through that, you are fulfilling even God's desires. You are helping to keep the love of God continuing. But then, Dr. Ari, even as you're doing that, how do you ensure accountability? Because somebody may say, I need to send my donation, I need to do this, but is there accountability in the whole process?
I love that's a good question. Save a Life is a registered organization. That's why we call it Save a Life Community.
Yes.
That's we involve people like you, and we have been working with media. Since we started, work with media. We are always on TV, we are always on radio, we are always on Facebook, showing that what we do. So that means we are transparent. Another aspect of a transformational leader is being transparent, being open. Okay? So we open up. Every case that we tell, we normally tell people. Every case, and we also, if you go to my Facebook page, that is Dr. Joseph Moremi Save a Life Community, you'll see all the stories, telling all the stories, and what we do. So we are open, and we call each and everyone who wants to come and visit Save a Life to come to our offices. But again, what we do after quarterly, because we are a registered organization, we do auditing. And what we do, we work with the government, then again we work with the community. So what we do, Joseph here is just a servant who is linking this sick person to the audience, people who can help. You understand? So what I keep on saying is that Save a Life is not mine, is not for people who are working with Save a Life, but Save a Life is for the community. And that's why we are that open. We are open that we share everything. And sometimes people are, you're too open. You're on media. You're all over. Because I tell them, this thing is for the community. It's not. And I told you earlier when I started that I'm a servant leader. A servant leader is someone who has people's at heart. Our key business is that kid who is struggling in Turkana, in Samburu. Our key business is to help that person who needs help. Our key business is to give hope to those people who have given up in life. And as we do this, we again reach hundreds of people every week, telling them that if you are blessed, be a blessing to someone else. Consider at least sacrificing. I have a friend of mine who sometimes I approached him and he told me that when I get a lot of money I'll help you. I told him that's a scam. That's a scam. Helping is why sacrifice. Is it a scam? Because you can say that at least kundapata pesa nyingi ndio kusaidia. That's a scam. Giving is sacrifice. You need to sacrifice. You don't have to wait when you have a lot of money so that we'll give.
Even the little that you have.
Sometimes we sacrifice that breakfast, that lunch, so that for that boy That's what we do.
That's what I was wondering whether you actually got into that point. And
I told you I host patient at my place. Not once. Not only that. We travel. For example, I'm working during the day. Then at night I'm traveling, so that I have like 2 days. Go do this work. Then I also do my normal to pay my bills. Yeah. So I'm also working. I'm also doing other things beside now this humanity work. Yeah. So again, you can imagine balancing my work and also helping. I sacrifice. I travel at night. You travel, your time, your resources, and all that is not easy. But sometimes, sometimes you feel like giving up. But when you remember that this calling came from God, this is your purpose in life, then you have energy to continue, because it's not easy.
Have you ever felt like giving up?
Not once. Not once. Sometimes you feel like this is too much. You have a bill to pay. You have some money to pay. You don't have money. Again, you need to pay. You have your bills to pay for this boy from Samburu. Then again, you have your bills to pay at home. Then sometimes what do you do? Then again, you need to recognize that the reason why God has given you this ability so that you can serve your community and serve your family. Okay?
Yeah.
And what gives me momentum or motivation to continue going is to see, then again, that boy after the surgery back to school, doing well. That I have a lady called Diana Tulo from Nairobi. This girl, I met her. She has done 4 surgeries, and this girl has done 4 surgeries in a public hospital, and they were backfiring. They were not working. She had a big hernia. Then I asked myself, if she has done 4 surgeries, will it work? I took the girl. Again, I took her to Dr. Kilonzo. I'm grateful because after that surgery, the girl is now doing well. Again, I went ahead and I took that girl to school. And now she's back to school doing very well. That's what gives us energy to continue doing.
Daktari.
Yes.
One good thing that you say is that you gave out your heart towards this particular desire, to this mission to save lives. And because of this, congratulations, because you got a honorary, you got recognized, and I want you to just mention that within a minute about this particular recognition that you received.
You know, one thing about serving, people will always see what you're doing. And we have gotten people recognizing our work, institutions, organizations, and all that. Then I think 2 years ago, I got a call from a certain university.
Yes.
And they told me that you're doing a good job. Then like to recognize you as someone who is serving the community. And they gave me a doctoral degree in human letters for what I'm doing, because they have seen what I'm doing. And sometimes it gives you, when people, some people sit and see what they're doing and they come calling. It is inspiring, yeah?
Daktari, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
It goes without saying.
Thank you.
And I know somebody out there watching us today will want to reach out to you. How can they do that?
We are open on my Facebook page. That is Dr. Joseph Moremi, Save a Life Community. If you drop me a message, I'll call back. On my Facebook page, on our website, that is www.savealife.community, www.savealife.community. You'll see our numbers, you'll see our YouTube, and again, on that website, you'll see all our work. The story that I'm telling you, have captured, you'll see all our work there on our website. Then again, I'll take this opportunity again to appreciate each and everyone.
All right.
Each and who has been sacrificing the 10 shilling, the 5, the 20, the 100, just to save a life. Thank you. Because I'll tell them that nyinyi ni shujaa, let's continue doing this and never give up, because service to humanity is service to God. Let's continue doing this, and I love you so much.
Thank you so much. That is Dr. Joseph Moremi, founder Save a Life. Daktari, keep on doing what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
May God bless you and the work of your hands. You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you, Asante.
And it is on that note that we bring this conversation to a close. A very good point, or a good place to end that particular conversation here on Good Morning Kenya. Still keep up with our programs, because Save a Life is a program that comes on KBC, your #1 channel of choice, every Sunday 10 p.m. and a repeat every Monday at 2:30 p.m., meaning today, tune into that particular program. You'll be able to see more about what we are talking about. Let's take a short break and then we'll be back with more. Keep it Good Morning Kenya.
대강이 네가 가봐. 아 근데 지난번에 말했잖아. 또 까먹었냐? 어?
경찰에 신고해. 떳떳하게 신고해. 자 그만. 그래 가서 모른다고 하잖아.
걔도 가시고 청와대도 가시고 왜 안 되면 교황님한테 가서 이러세요. 일로.
Wajiku. Hii kiherehere unaleta hapa ya kufanya kazi ya wengine ndio fanye nini?
Ala, bwana uchui?
Aki mama, unanibeba kasichui aje. Basi ni sawa basi, geuka basi ngopatie surprise.
Sasa ine gani?
Sasa uko busy katika chatting, tuna chat na nani?
Mimi anakaa brother yake. Anawitagua na milioni moja kwa bahali utumi. Mmeamua kuniharibia siku kabisa.
Mpaka kiti bosi yangu.
Anataka kukalia wewe.
Unafungua kama kabati.
Tendo hiyo.
Simama kama gamia, kwa nini beba vitu hapa?
Akikusumbua sana. Mbate mume subscriber, it's not available at the moment. Try again later.
But your pride was stronger than that. And thanks to that, you'll marry someone else. But no one will love you like I do.
Call an ambulance!
What happened? What happened?
And I know the consequences of what I want to do. I won't let him control me. I'm not going to sentence myself to living a lie. I won't do it.
I have been thinking that maybe I should go back to the city.
So he did it then. That swine betrayed me. The scoundrel has no place left to call his own to die in. So if he was well dressed and drinking fine liquor, that means he already sold the document. That darn swine betrayed me.
Las Bandidas.
Every Monday evening, we take you back where the action happened live. We'll let you know what you missed, even if you were present.
And our goal is to continue supporting our own.
From the latest celebrity buzz,
fashion,
music,
and all manner of youth talents,
the Grapevine cameras rove all week to bring you the latest in the enormous entertainment scene.
Watch Grapevine every Monday at 10 p.m. and the rerun on Tuesday at 2 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1, baby.
Engage us on Facebook and Twitter, #Grapevine on KBC. Let us know what is happening in your area code, because you know what they say, if you did not see it on Grapevine,
then it most probably never happened.
Ain't nobody gotta tell you what you gotta do.
All right, thank you so much for being with us. My name is Ram Maguko. Let's talk about Family Check this fine Monday morning. We still continue. This is Good Morning Kenya. Remember to keep engaging with us. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya at Ram Maguko, which is my handle, and the official session handle, which is at KBC Channel 1. This fine Monday morning, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier on, let's talk about the boy child. A very interesting conversation that we're about to have this morning. And let's talk about the plight of the boy child. We shall talk about how exactly we are involving them in matters concerning their health? How are we engaging the boy child to promote their own well-being? Well, today, let's talk about this. I am with Therese Sam, the founder of Mng'aro Mtaani. Karibu sana.
Asante sana, bro.
How are you feeling, my brother?
I'm okay, bro.
Tell me about Mng'aro Mtaani. What is it all about?
Mng'aro Mtaani is all about kung'ara. Like
kung'ara.
The word kung'ara. It's derived from kung'ara. So Mng'aro Mtaani, what we do basically, it started in a very funny way because I used to live in Korogosho, and where I used to live there, when I used to be there, many people used to put on one cloth for several times.
Yeah.
Same to me. So
because that's how life is.
That's how life is. So this thing really disturbed my mind, and I was like, what can I do when I grow up? Because sometimes I could go to school with the same short. The same short again, I will go with it to the church. So the days were changing, but for me, it was just the same thing. Because the mama mboga that I meet at the canteen there, I couldn't wear the same lasso. The guy that I play with, my friend, I couldn't wear the same trouser. So the life was very hard. Like it was hard, but for us, we were not noticing that it is very hard, because sometimes you can see other children dressed smartly. Other families look very smart. But for you, you're just the same. So, to cut the long story short, God blessed me. I went to school. Then when I was done with my schooling, now I decided to come up with this initiative. When the first time I joined Facebook, I asked myself, what can I do with this Facebook? As a good guy, what can I do? Because many people get into social medias to do different things. Some do nasty things with social media. But for me, I choose to do good things with social media. So I started collecting clothes. I started with my own clothes. So then I gave them out to a friend of mine, because now I have moved from Korogosho slum. I'm living somewhere, so I can afford to buy clothes. And the clothes that I had now, I took them and give them to somebody else. So I saw this guy. He was very happy because immediately I gave him these clothes. The next day, I saw him putting them on. And then it was like, so this is a real change. So I went to my Facebook. Initially, I started my Facebook to show off how I can look smart. But now I went to my Facebook and posted that photo. Then immediately I talked to my wife. My wife also gets some clothes. And for my children. That time I was having like 2 children.
Yeah.
So we took these clothes again. We gave them to a certain family, and the children were very happy, and the mother was very happy. So this thing made me feel like it is just a problem that people want to look smart, but they don't know where to get because of lack of funds.
Lack of funds. And I love what you're saying there, because as many people do, or as many people behave or seem to be on social media, when you make a post on Facebook or any other platform, it's sometimes it's to show off that I have this, I've got this. But then that perspective changed for you.
Yes, mine was okay. I think God just told me, just go talk to me that use this platform for a good cause, for a worthy cause,
for something that
value. Something that will give impact to someone. So there's this quote that I posted there, that we get addressed by how we dress. So, and this is true. Many times you go somewhere, you look for someone who looks very neat, and you think that is a good guy, but you don't know, maybe he's a con man or he's a good man for real. But you never know. Sometimes you get somewhere and you see people, they don't know, that person does not dress smartly, but you judge him or her
based on how
they are dressed, how they look.
For now, if anybody who is watching us at this moment, they will judge us. Like they will judge you as a smart guy, and they will judge me as a ule kijana wa mtaa, you see. And And that's why we say you get addressed, but
by how you dress. And now I'm looking at how vijana kwa mtaa, because you're talking about mng'aro mtaani.
Yes.
How the vijana kwa mtaa are dressing, and you're saying they maintain the same clothes for so long.
Yeah.
How long are we talking about here? And I'm looking at the hygiene.
Yeah, thank you. First, this is all about self-esteem. Leave alone the hygiene.
Yes. Okay. So we talk about self-esteem first.
Yeah, first let's talk about the self-esteem. Wewe usheka tia dem na uko na longi moja. Kesho umeenda kumchukua tena uko na hiyo the same long. Udema shindua. Hadi mabisi zake wanamwambia ule boy wako wa longi ya brown amekam. So it's all about self-esteem first. You see?
Nilikuwa na jeans moja.
Thank you. So, okay, then after that now we have the hygiene part of it.
Yes.
And before I come to that, let me tell you, since we started this Mng'aro Mtaani, we have been collecting clothes from well-wishers, and I want to thank Kenyans who have been on our Facebook. I can't lie to you, and I'm telling you the truth. We started this thing 2010. Now we have like 13 years of in operation, and more than 500,000 people have received clothes from Mng'aro Mtaani.
Wow!
And more than 70,000 people have donated. Around 7,000 to 70. Like people, we don't buy clothes because first we get this clothes from your home, and we also empty your house. As we empty your house, you also support another person in the slum. You see? And it's also something like it's like we are conserving environment wherever you are.
But then you are concentrating so much on the boys.
Not. It was general. It was general.
And right now, is this
even now? It's still general. But when we started with clothing, and then we came up with there's a time we went to give clothes in Kibra, and a certain girl told us, na unajua hata ukinipatia hii nguo, mimi sina pads. You see, immediately we also gave out, we give them pads. So this clothing was just an entry point.
It was an entry point.
Yes.
All right, and we are going to talk more about that particular point after we take this break.
Okay.
And then you'll tell me why should we talk about this today. All right, let's take a break. We'll be back in a bit. Keep it. Good morning, Kenya.
To get Skizatune Hail Mary, dial *811 *963 #.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
To get Hail Mary, dial *811 *963 #. *811 *963 #.
My name is George Mwangi, Deputy Clerk of course for the WRC Safari Rally. I'm the one assigned the Kasarani Super Special Stage. For the spectators who will not be able to make it to the stages, our national broadcaster, KBC, will be broadcasting on Thursday, live, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, if you can't make it to the stages, tune in to KBC, Channel 1.
Wajiko. Hii kirehere unaleta hapa ya kufanya kazi ya wengine ndio fanye nini?
Ala, bwana uchui?
Aki mama, unanibeba kasichui ache. Basi ni sawa basi, geuka basi ngopatie surprise.
Sasa ine gani?
Sasa uko busy katika chatting, tunachat na nani?
Mimi anakaa brother yake. Anawitagua na milioni moja kwa bahali utumi. Mmeamua kuniharibia siku kabisa.
Mpaka kiti bosi yangu.
Anataka kukalia wewe.
Unafungua kama kabati.
Etendo hiyo.
Simama kama gamia, kwa nini beba vitu hapa?
Akikusumbua sana. Mbate muma subscriber, it's not available at the moment. Try again later.
Yes, thank you for sticking with us. We continue with this conversation. I am with Torres Sam, founder Mngaro Mtaani. Torres, before we took that break, we were talking about how life is. Komta. And I love how enthusiastic you are about it. You're so original. And I'm trying to understand one particular aspect here, and that is on self-esteem. Paint a picture for me. Kwa yule kijana ambaye komta pale, and he has his clothes, that one pair that he's putting on every single day. How is life, and why would someone watching us today say that this is a situation that I need to listen to? This is a situation that I need to pay attention to.
Many people relate with this because for once we come from families. We are all outcome of families. So sometimes, not only in the slums, but even in the rural areas, we have people who depend on their aunties or their uncles. During Christmas, when they come back, is when they can get a pair of shoes or a pair of something, or even a nice shoe or a nice shirt. But sometimes these uncles or aunties don't want to give them. They end up even stealing, hiding your shirt, because they know that you're traveling back tomorrow. So they hide it. And this one is something that he just need this shirt, but he can't tell you that, bro, hiyo shirt yako ni fiti suniwachie. Of course, hata wewe unaipenda. So it's something that it's a natural national calamity to every boy child that is now listening at this moment. Even if you ask, even for yourself, I can ask you, when is the last time I don't know whether your parents are still alive, but
they're still alive.
When is the last time did your mom, kama ulikuwa chuo, alikubaia boxer? The last time ulibaiwa boxer is when? and after hapo, hiyo boxer ukakuwa nayo ukatoka shule. Ulirudi tena kwa mzazi ukamwambia boxer yangu imechapa. You know when you're at school, the only thing yenye utaulizwa na parent, mafuta yako imeisha. Na uko na pesa ya mkate kwota na school fees. Hiyo ni okay, now leave alone school fees. Hiyo ni role yake. Atakuuliza na shati yako imeraruka. But now go to a school, in a boarding school, where boxers zina disappear kama shakahola. Zinaenda. Umekuja na boxer yako mpya imepotea the same day. This thing is also happening to girls schools, not only boys schools.
They still
inaibiwa, brother. Umekam na boxer imeandikwa gymnastic hivi, kesho unapata imeandikwa gymnaria, imeenda. And this is something that boy child wana suffer. Na hawezi pigia madhe, ambie madhe yake ama guardian kwamba boxer imesha. The same fear yenye mademo wako nayo kuambia mabuda zao, mapara zao kwamba hawana pads. The same fear ndio pia sisi boys tuko nayo kuambia mtu kwamba hauna boxer.
But you know, you're still in high school.
Thank you. Even after high school, even if after 14 years, you know, 14 years the voice break.
Yes.
Kutoka hapo kuna kafia kanaingia, wewe ni mwanaume.
Unaona umekuwa mkubwa sasa.
Umekuwa mkubwa, unaendaje kuambia mzazi story? Boxer, hata ukitumwa kuenda kusiaga peke yake, ulikuwa unafilaje bro? Umepewa mahindi, shika ram, enda kasiage pale kwa center. Ulikuwa unasikiaje hiyo mzigo? Kubeba tu unga tu kwenda nayo kusiaga, unaonekana unateswa, si ndio? And how will you feel kwenda kuambia paro wako kwamba hauna boxer yenye uko nayo iliibiwa shule ama imetoboka.
So there is kuna hii aibu. There's this shame.
Shame yenye iko.
So you end up repeating the same boxer. You put it on.
Yes.
For a long period of time.
Na sasa hapo ndio inapata, hapo ndio sasa tunakuja na hashtag yetu inaitwa masaibu ya boxer. Sasa hapo ndio sasa boxer inaumia.
You go by the name the Boxer Boys.
Yeah, we are the Boxer Boys. We are the Boxer Boys because we want to tell every man that you deserve to have a boxer. Juu hakuna, by the way, ushaka mna dem kwa nyumba na uko na boxer imetoboka, itabidi utoe longi na boxer. Unajua dem anaweza lose hope akiona boxer yako kama imetoboka. Unasikia hebu zima taa kwanza. No. Let's be gentlemen. Akisha sikia poa brother. So I'm urging men, kama uko na bro ama kazi ni mwenye kuushago ama ako anywhere, please si lazima ulete mngaro mtani. Unaweza tu buy to box. Na pia naambia madem, sisi men tumewabaya vitu mob sana. Tumewapiga surprise.
Sometimes give us also gifts.
Yeah, it is our time now. It is our time now. It is our time. Na mimi naambia ule producer dem, leo akitoka hapa hivi enda buy boy yake boxer because you don't know how it feels.
I don't know if you're referring to Windrose.
Yeah, Windrose. So it's something that it's natural. It's happening. Now what wanateseka?
So I'm trying to look at the passion that you have.
Yes.
Of course, you've come from a humble background.
Yes.
Many would say that I have come from a humble background. I live my life. I'm pushing to succeed on my own. Why would you choose to have the interests of your neighbor as if it is your own? Why would you say that I want to have a project as the Boxer Boys to facilitate the well-being of others who are in the slums?
Let me tell you something. You know, you don't only live your life. You live life with other people. No man stands alone. Because one, if I look smart, if I have money, and my neighbor is suffering, then that money can't even help me. And let me tell you, to all people, to all philanthropists in the world, this one now I'm talking about philanthropists. These people, they're people like me. And there's a certain software that God puts into your heart. That you, hata wewe mwenyewe ujui. Not that mimi niko na pesa. God anakupatia tu ideas. You remember when you wanted to be a news anchor. Ulikuwa unaingia kwa kioo, unajiongelesha peke yako. People think that you are mad. But eventually, God was showing you a way that one day utakuwa kwa TV. And this is how it starts. Umezaa mtoto, anatamani kutembea. Siku moja anatembea. So, nobody anaweza anzisha kitu kama hii kama una hiyo software yenye God aliweka. Sympathy, empathy, and giving back.
You wanted to give back.
Yes, you wanted.
To the society.
It's just something that is a push. It's a push. It's a push that is there. People think that we philanthropists we are very rich. Of course, we are rich in giving.
I love that.
But it's something that if you started it alone because of wanafikiria, wengine wanasema nikifanya hiki kitu juu Torres anaifanya, mimi nitapata do. If you come for money, then bro, tulia. But if it's coming from your heart.
Let me get it from you, Torres. Just give me a number. What is the longest period that you've seen a boy X maintain one particular boxer?
I can tell you from experience, mimi nishakaa na boxer for like 3 months. Nikiosha, navaa, naosha. Yani, sina sponge, sina ile kitu ya kujisugua inaitwaje? Hii ya kujisugua like hiyo boxer ndio naenda nayo. Cheki, si ati naivati siitoi. Like the way the girls are laughing here. Like naenda nayo, hiyo ndio natumia kama kijisuguo. Nachukua sabuni, nikienda kuoga, naoga. Ushaona wale maboys, ushaona shule wale maboys wakifika akiingia kwa bafu, kwanza anafua. Alafu unaona ametoa mkono wake pale nje anafanya hivi. Kwanza alafu ana take few time aoge amalize ndio atoke na boxer yake.
So but boxer ni baridi.
Boxer ni baridi, yes, but itapigwa upepo mpaka ikue fit. Kabla vae longi atakuwa ametulia kidogo, itakuwa imekauka.
But there are instances where they end up
unaenda ndeze sasa. Juu sasa tuseme ndeze ni kwenda unaenda free. Sasa tuseme that time umefua and ulikuwa unaoga then mvua inanyesha. bro, what is this next thing? Unaenda kuvaa longi bila boxer. Ni ukweli, because hauna ingine.
But wengine wanavaa kama ni baridi bado.
Sawa, it depends. Juu kuna wale wako na hiyo wanasema acha, lakini ukivaa kama ni baridi, so siwezi ongelelea wengine, but mimi yangu ilikuwa inani force. Kama mvua imenyesha, si ni free.
So I'm looking at you see, this is just giving us a glimpse, a picture of the poverty levels that we have in the country.
Yes.
There are people who lack.
They lack.
To the point where they don't have any cloth to change to. So they have to put on the same clothes.
For many times. For a long time.
Yako umesema 3 months.
Mimi,
unaoga nayo unavaa tena.
Kungara nayo nangara juu mimi ni mngaro mtani. Ndaiosha vizuri. Lakini sasa sitakuwa na ingine. Because one, umepata do. Hauna mzazi sasa osha kwa mbigi. Na this time ilikuwa nafanyika kama at a teenage, I'm talking at a teenage age. Sio at this moment. At ile teenage age ile pale tuko very young.
Yes.
So when nikuulize saizi uko na boxer ni so. Unga ni so mbili na 250 ama to something. Wewe utabai nini kwanza? Si utabai kwanza, utajifeed kwanza because it's shelter, clothing, it's shelter, food and clothing. So inaenda na hiyo hierarchy. So unapata watu wengi hawezi focus, they can't focus on some other things because wanaona this is something that iko ndani. And let me tell you something, Ram.
Yes.
Ushafika kwa accident, unapata mtu amepiga suti smart kama wewe hivi, lakini saa zile mnaenda kumsaidia hivi hadi unacheka na amededi juu boxer imetoboka. Because many people pretend to be smart outside but inside ni wachafu sana.
And that's the question that maybe I can pose to you watching today. Have you ever been in that scenario where you've asked yourself a question, between this clothes and this food, what do I buy? Are you aware that there are Kenyans who have to choose between buying unga and buying a boxer? There are those that are in that particular predicament. But now I'm looking at Sam. This journey isn't easy.
Yeah.
How do you manage to get these boxers out there? How do you manage to distribute these clothes out there in a way that is fair to everyone, and everyone feels they have gotten a portion of this particular meat? And how do you ensure that there is still accountability, that there is no stealing? Because some will say, I did not get a boxer, I will steal this one.
Yeah, first, we don't do it alone. We have partners. We partner with the other community members. Those are like in the likes of the religious leaders.
Yes.
We also work with other self-help groups. We work with the administration. So in partnership, we also have a team of volunteers that we have within our organization. And how do we identify this kind of people? We work with the community health workers. They call them the chiefs. We also work with people who are our volunteers and they live in that community. They can identify. Because we've been donating clothes to many people for many years, we have really had a good experience on how to distribute things. Because when it was starting, it was very hard. But now you see, we have 13 years. We have experience. It's like you now, you can go without an auto cue because you know what you're doing.
Actually, I never use a new.
Yes. So for us, now we know how to do it. And we can tell. And we also have like a design. If you are going to distribute clothes, we start with the aged. Then we come to the young mothers. Then now we come to the young people. And they will wait. Alternatively, we can ask the aged, can we give the children first? Then they will tell us, wacha wachukue. Then now we give to this. And you see, when we are coming to give, we give because we love giving.
Yeah.
And that's why we give them first. We talk to them. We talk to people because first, let me tell you, when we're giving people clothing, imagine wewe Ram umenipatia nguo. Kuna pia Njoki amenipatia nguo. Sijui Mwanaisha ametoka Mombasa ametuma nguo na basi fulani ya kutoka Mombasa. Unaona huyu mtu akujui kabisa, alafu nakuja kukupatia. This is where now cohesion through clothing is also coming. Because mtu amekupatia hii nguo sisi hatujanunua. We are not buying these clothes. except boxers.
All right. On that note, help me understand. What are the types of donations that you get? Money or clothes, and how do you receive them across the country? Because now, when you talk about clothes, and not receiving them is a bit difficult.
Yes, we receive clothes, and even right now we have like a full truck of clothes. And how do we receive them? Because people knows us. People, watu wanatujua kama sisi ndio mngaro mtani. It is very difficult for you, Rama, to take your tie and give your cousin. Hata unaona mdharau. Number one. Sindio? There's that, amenibeba aje. Mbona ananipatia? But it is very easy for you to give us clothes kama mngaro mtani, tupatie cousin yako. Juu yeye atajua imetoka kwa nani. Unaona? So, tunapata watu wengi wanatufuata kwa Facebook yetu, kwa website yetu, wanatuma. Nowadays, I want to thank Kenyans because at first, 2 years, it was very, very difficult. Unaitwa Umoja, unaitwa Kisusuru, unaitwa wapi. So nowadays, people drop them to our center. We have a dropping zone whereby watu wanazileta. We just pin you, wengine wanatuma na Uber, and I thank Kenyans. Kenyans are very generous.
Where is the center?
Our center is in Lakisama.
Lakisama. So they come physically?
Yeah, they come physically. They ask us, what else do you want? Sana nashukuru wa mama. Like, wa mama ni wazuri sana.
Wa mama ndo nakuja. Men are not coming out?
Men, they come out, but they are very busy, I know. They are very busy, but the bigger percentage that bring their clothes. Unajua mama ndiye anatoa manguo za mtoto wake. Unajua wewe mwanaume huwezi toa nguo ya mtoto wako. Ni mama ndiye anajua hii nguo mtoto ameshi. So, na pia wakikuja, they also ask, what else can we do? Tunawaambia, we have girl child, wanatupatia boxer, wanatupatia pants, wanatupatia pads. So, this time round, ndio tumeamua, we want now to do the boxer boys. Because anytime we go into any community, maybe Makueni, tukienda, madem ndio napata vitu zawadi. Na tukienda pia tuko na mentorship ya mashule ya kuongelesha maboys about life skills. If we go there, pia maboys wanabaki hawana kitu. So, this time we have changed the tune. Of course, the one for the girls, yenye inaitwa periods don't stop for pandemic, is still going on. And it's running. Tunapeana pads, tunapeana pants, tunaleta mentors, wanaongelesha madem. But now, sisi kama wanaume, and we are also calling upon our deputy president Bwana Gachagua, so that Boychel, of course, anaongelelea maneno ya pombe and everything and illicit everything anaongelelea. Can he also think about the return, the hygiene? Kwa nini mtu anakuja kukunywa pombe? Kwa sababu huyu mtu amekuwa desperate. Ameona amekuwa mchafu sana na boxer, ameitiwa katoto, amepiga. Ndio apate ile confidence. So we would love to have a Kenya yenye watu wana smart. Kuna one of the MPs nilimwona alipiga kelele sana juu ya pads mpaka akajipaka kwa bunge. Do we have MPs who can also talk about boxers? Or they only want to pass bills on things that benefit them? So now, we would love to get men champions. When wana championia stories za men, because hata hiyo shule yenye hao ma MPs wametoka, kuna maboys wanaenda bila boxers. And even you can ask even one MP atakwambia, hata utaanza anybody mwenye kwa this seats kubwa how they also overcome this shame of boxers.
How challenging has this project been for you? All these years, you said 13 years you've been doing it.
13 years, yeah. 13 years because first we have been working on a zero budget. It's a people to people movement, me and you. So we identify, we paste it on our Facebook, people join us, we do it. So it's very challenging. At mpaka ikafika, I was confused between my work and giving back. Because God anataka nisaidie watu, familia yangu na nataka kulishwa.
So it's balancing.
It's balancing. Balancing also became a problem. But as God akisha kusi off, anakupatia everything. Yeah. If your heart is that, then there is where you can go.
But then, how do you choose places to do donations? Do you have selected areas that you go to?
No, we don't. First, our target is slums.
Yes.
Secondly, our target is rural areas.
Yes.
So we don't have any place. We only ask people when we have enough. we ask people, where do you feel like you want us to come? Like last time where we gave boxers was Naivasha, 3 weeks ago. We went to Kasarani area. We spoke to those guys. We took them through life skills, a mentorship program, and then now the boys opened up. Hey, sisi tumekuwa tukilengwa sana, sisi tumekuwa hivi. Now, if we empower more girls than boys, who will marry these girls? Empowered woman is also another disaster in our society. And I'm not saying to empower girls is not bad. Because ukishamu empower sana, madharau. Unajua mademu wanga na kamaringo. Na kamaringo kakipanda kakuwe na kamadharau.
Okay, in other words, what you're saying, when we empower the girl child, and the boy child is not empowered, it's not, there is no balance.
It's like una empower ndama kushinda ng'ombe. And the Bible says that the men at the head. Why do you want to empower the neck only and forget about the head?
Okay, long story short, everyone is to be...
no one should be left behind.
No one should be left out. Everyone should be empowered. But then you are going to a place like Naivasha.
Yes.
Of course, you will need funding in terms of money.
Yes.
Donations.
Yes.
Do they come just in form of clothing only?
Some people. Okay. No, not monetary. Some people, we have people with different hearts. We have people who will tell us, Mimi, siwezi leta boxer, but I'm supporting 100 boys. I'm supporting 100 boys with this boxer. This boxer, like maybe I can show them. This boxer that I have here, mtu anakuambia mimi I have a boxer, niko na boxers, nilinunua boxers, but zingine sijatumia. I can send them via this and this. But kuna mwingine atakuambia mimi nataka kusupport 100 boys. How much is the boxer? Unapata ametuma kwa till.
Okay.
So the number one thing about philanthropy is being accountable and be true. Mtu akidonate kitu, deliver it, because kunako ka guilt. So first it comes from your heart. Mimi saizi ukinipatia hiyo kalamu nipelekee mtu, I will give it there. Sitasema acha nivunje ati nini. Because it was meant for you.
So that you don't just give a portion of what was donated.
Yes, and that is what keeps me going. That is what keeps Mung'aro Mtaani going. Because if you give us mattress, tomorrow you will see we take a photo with a certain person to mepeana or something.
Sam, how can somebody reach out to you if they want to get a hold of you?
Yeah, first you can go to our Facebook, but I wanted to show them something that.
You wanted to show them, okay.
I have niko na tools.
Yes.
Watu umogoka wanasemanga wako na tools.
Uko na tools.
Niko na tools.
You want to show them some tools here?
Yeah, I want to show them some tools.
Okay.
You see, wanaume wengi hawana handkerchief. Hawana hizi. Wanaume wengi sana hawana handkerchief. And this is something that wanaume wanafaa kukuwa nayo. Juu unaweza pita pahali upatikane na ushapata matatu mwanaume mbigi kabisa na handkerchief. Sasa hizo ndio amepiga chavia. Akajirekelea kwa koti. So tunafaa kutrain maboys waanze kukuwa na hii kitu mapema.
We need to empower the boys.
Yeah, boy child.
Should walk with a handkerchief.
Walk with a handkerchief. Then next, ni vingumu sana wewe ni mdogo na umeshafika 14 years na una kitu kama hii ya kunyoa. Because as much as umeoga now you also need to shave. So boy child wanafaa kutrainiwa wale wadogo kutumia hii. So this is what we do. And now finally tuko na hii boxer. Hii pia wanaume wengi wanaikosa. Na ndio kama na tunajaribu kuambia watoto wadogo wafanye nini. Then tuko na sabuni. Hii sabuni ndio itafanya hizi vitu zote zing'are. So you see, this is what we give the boy child
as a package.
This is a dignity kit for the boy child.
Wow.
So if you want to find us, you can get us on our Facebook. That is Mung'aro Mtaani. You can also go to our website www.mungaromtaani.org. You can also personally find me at Torres Sam Omol, Torez Sam Omol. And I'm not doing it alone now. We have many people. We have people who have joined us. We have also other champions who have come on board. We also would love to bring you on board as a boy champion. Ram, sijui kama utatujoin ujiite box.
Nitawajoin. Nijiite boxer boy.
The boxer, yeah, you're a boxer boy. So tungetaka next time tukienda.
All right.
We would love to bring you on board. You can also find us, or you can also call me on 0725-293-797.
Okay.
I'm really grateful for this.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful. Keep doing what you're doing, and I wish you the best. Okay? Asante sana. That brings us to the end of this conversation right here. It's all about the boxer boy with Torres himself here. Good morning, Kenya.
The boxer boy, Masaibu ya boxer.
Masaibu ya boxer. May God bless you. May God bless the work of your hands. That brings us to the end of this morning show. My name is Ram Maguko. Keep it KBC Channel 1. Torres.